Red line, outside Pangu City. At this time, the battle situation has completely entered a white-hot stage. The 3-5 elders who broke out to drag Long, Shanks, and Hawkeye with all their strength before have returned to their normal combat power. However, they were once again in a situation of being beaten at this moment. The leader of the current revolutionary army, Long, was the first to launch a counterattack against the 5 elders. Through Shanks' introduction, Buggy also knows the dragon's own fruit ability. Human fruit Phantom Beast Hurricane Dragon King form. This fruit ability, Nima, is the top fruit of the protagonist category. It can be said that above the red line at this time, it is really a chaos of eudemons. The false beasts pirates have been destroyed, and the real beasts pirates are kings in Pangu City. It's outrageous. It will be really interesting if Im's ability is revealed to be a phantom beast after a while. But judging from the time ability she showed before, it should be a paramecia type fruit. Even Shanks has never heard of the devil fruit related to time. A devil fruit that Buggy knows is related to time, that is, Kazuki Odin's wife, Tianyue Shi, her fruit ability is paramecia time fruit. If the ability she possesses is the fruit of time, then what is the ability that Im showed before? Just as Buggy was thinking about this, Long had already made a move with all his might. Roar, the roar of the Hurricane Dragon King. Above the sky, a dragon in the form of a golden-scaled dragon man opened its mouth to St. Peter below and let out a golden-blue roar. Hurrah! In the next second, a blue-gold wind with a diameter of tens of meters rushed into the sky and sprayed down on the cattle below. Well, St. Peter below also let out a roar without showing any weakness, and then a burst of orange light lit up all over his body, and finally gathered in the center of the bull's horns and shot out towards the blue-gold wind that shot down from the sky. The wrath of APIs. Swish, an orange beam of light soared into the sky and collided with the huge blue-gold wind. Bang! Suddenly there was a huge explosion in the sky. Seeing this scene, St. Peter's mouth below showed a smug smile. Chi 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 chi. Just in the next moment, although the cyan wind dissipated in the explosion, the golden wind cut the explosion smoke into pieces, and blasted on the huge API-shaped giant bull in the blink of an eye. Boom boom boom. The huge explosion gas directly cut Peter's sheng covered in blood, and the resulting explosion blasted him into the ground again. A series of injuries caused him to let out a miserable scream. Wing strike of the Hurricane Dragon King. The dragon above the sky was unreasonable. When he opened his arms, the golden wings on his back also spread out above the sky with a crash, and then 2 huge tornadoes of hundreds of meters appeared on both sides of the wings. Moreover, there is a golden aura in this tornado. After the appearance of these 2 huge tornadoes of hundreds of meters, the sky began to change, with dark clouds rolling, lightning and thunder. This natural disaster-like scene of destroying heaven and earth caused everyone around the world to watch the live broadcast feel a burst of horror. Swish. In the next second, with Long Yi waving his hand, 2 tornadoes simultaneously landed in the giant explosion crater where Peter Saint fell before. Zzz. Chi 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 chi. Before Peter Saint could react, in the blink of an eye, 2 hurricane tornadoes hit the huge crater below, and at the same time, the 2 tornadoes collided together, causing even more terrifying friction and cutting. Until the friction cutting of the 2 tornadoes reached a threshold, a golden light beam shot out from the inside. 1, 2. Hundreds. Rumbling under the collision of the last 2 tornadoes, a huge explosion occurred again, and all the kilometers within a radius of 1,000 meters were included in the scope of the explosion. After feeling this terrifying blow, Redfield, Shanks, Hawkeye and others who were fighting in the distance cast their gazes over at the same time. Then they saw the dragon spread its golden wings, standing proudly in the air with its arms folded, its golden pupils looking down at the center of the explosion below. Seeing this, Shanks and others immediately swept away from the energy aftermath of the explosion, and they immediately understood. The victory is divided. Now that the dragon has decided the outcome here, Shanks and the others are not going to procrastinate any longer. Looking at the 5 elders Vokchuli Saint who flew around in the sky with his wings and slashed dozens of slashes towards him from time to time, Shanks squinted his eyes slightly, and slashed several slashes instantly with his sword. Slash all the new seats from the sky. Swish swish swish. Taking advantage of the huge humanoid eagle in the form of Saint Nahoris of Vachuli in the sky flapping its wings to avoid the slash, Shanks suddenly raised his sword and stood the long sword in front of his chest. There was a golden light in his eyes flashing. In the next moment, Hockey's overflowing Shanks all around him instantly restrained, and let his right hand merge into the long sword erected in front of his chest. Buzz buzz. Immediately, the long sword began to vibrate immediately, and with the vibration of the long sword, golden ripples began to overflow from the long sword. Vaucholi Saint, it's time to end it. The golden light in Shanks' eyes became more and more intense, and then on one side of his body, he locked on Saint Vouchery above the sky with knowledge, and swung the long sword in his hand towards the sky. God dies. Vauchuli, who was above the sky, originally wanted to use his flying ability to avoid the battle after the outbreak period, but he didn't expect that after being locked by Shank's knowledge, he felt like he couldn't escape no matter what. The haunting fear of death made him howl, no. However, all to no avail. Scoff, a swordlight with a diameter of tens of meters, with golden ripples soared into the sky and crossed the sky thousands of meters away, engulfing Saint Vauchuli in an instant. In the next second, the breath of Wo Zhuangli fell into a near-death state from being tyrannical in an instant among the observation hockey of these masters around him. After a few seconds, a blood-spitting human-shaped giant eagle figure fell from the sky with a boom, and hit the ground without any movement. Shanks versus Vauchuli, Saint Easy win, crack the sky. Chi. Almost at the same time, on the battlefield a few kilometers away, a golden sword light soared into the sky, directly splitting the tumbling dark clouds in the sky and letting a golden sun shine from the sky. Everyone observation hockey subconsciously swept over, 5 elders Nasi Shou Lang Shang, dying. Hawkeye Mihawk, easy win. Hula with a gust of wind blowing by. The smoke and dust on the battlefield between the dragon and 5 elders Peter Saint was blown away, revealing the 5 elders Peter Saint, who was covered in blood and fell into a near-death coma in the 1,000-meter pit below. With a glance of the past, everyone understood that another 5 elders had fallen. Monkey D. Dragon also won easily. Armed by the gods, transforming Buddha on the top. Boom boom boom, the other side belongs to Buggy's battlefield. 200 giant fists wrapped in black gold flames and purple-black lightning protruded from behind the true several thousand hands, respectively hitting Sengoku and 5 elders who just crawled out of the underground pit, Mass Street. The 2 of them were almost instantly engulfed by this terrifying 200 Emperor-level peak destructive moves. Tens of seconds later, a puff of smoke cleared. The Sengoku Golden Giant Buddha has disappeared, lying unconscious on the ground covered in blood. On the other side, 5 elders Ma Sisheng also has white eyes and has withdrawn from the state of ability. Swish swish swish, in the next second, the 2 were engulfed by countless green vines. Under the knowledge of the surrounding people, no one can feel the aura of the 2 of them. At this moment, everyone understands a little bit. 5 elders Moss Street, die. Former Marine Marshal Sengoku, dead. Fighting to this moment, the world government side has reached the most critical moment. Swish. Almost instantly, everyone's eyes were locked on the woman standing above Tianlinuosi's head above the sky. However, facing the current situation of being surrounded, the woman still looked indifferent, unmoved at all, but said something that made everyone feel astonished. You guys are nice. More qualified to follow me than they are. If you are willing to surrender, I will take you to the other side of the starry sky. You can now start to choose, is to surrender, or die. This lower dimensional world is too small, only the Lord is eternal. Immediately after Im's words came out, everyone present fell into an uproar. They couldn't understand Im's arrogance for a while. Did she really think that a Uranus could stand against them? Isn't this too arrogant? Or, does she really have the power to ignore everything? Everyone is puzzled. Compared with the puzzled face in the Holy Land at this time, she looked at the Puxin girl in the distance. At this moment, everyone watching the live broadcast from all over the world is completely excited and reveling. Ha ha ha, lost. The celestial dragons are all defeated. What 5 elders? What descendants of the Creator? It's not all over yet. Long live Mr. Buggy. Long live Mr. Buggy. Long live the Scarlet Empire. It seems that a lot of people have rushed towards the Holy Land. Marie Joyce. Let's go too. Go. Let's see what happens to those celestial dragons. Master Buggy must win. Master Buggy will win. Long live Master Buggy. The whole world was in commotion at this moment, and almost all the live broadcast locations were full of carnival scenes. Even the kings of the underground world were shocked at this moment. It's too strong. The world government has completely collapsed. Now there is only that woman who has lived for more than 800 years. If Buggy and the others can kill this woman, then the world will really change. That woman gave me a very dangerous feeling. After seeing her subordinates completely defeated, she didn't seem to feel a little bit. As strong as she may be, I believe in Mr. Buggy. Umit, you are the one who does the most business with the Scarlet Empire among us. Have you seen that man up close? Don't be kidding, Feld. I'm just a shipping guy. Why should I see Mr. Buggy? It's all with me. Zephyr. The original Marine Admiral. How could he be in the Scarlet Empire? Don't you know? The news is too late, right? Zephyr led, Neo Marine, to join the Scarlet Empire a long time ago, and now he is the Marine Marshal of the Empire. Tisk. I'm afraid the future world will be ruled by the Scarlet Empire. That's inevitable. Even Stussy is under that man's command. I have to say, this woman's vision is really vicious. Look, it's the last battle. The kings of several major underground worlds were all talking at this time, but none of their eyes left the live broadcast screen. Red line. Holy place, outside Pangu City. Im's arrogant words just now caused everyone present to be silent and stunned. It seems that you are very sure that you can deal with all of us alone. Shanks looked at Im's expression in the distance and said. Then let's do it, there is no need to think about what you said. What's more, I won't follow someone who doesn't even look down on the world where I was born. Although I don't know what the upper dimensional world you are talking about is, and what kind of existence is the Lord you are talking about. But now that we have come here with Buggy today, it is impossible to retreat easily. Let's fight. Shanks' decisiveness immediately made everyone present nod in agreement. Long also took a step forward, with a blue-gold wind floating around him, and his golden pupils stared indifferently at Im in the distance and said. If this Uranus is your trump card, I can tell you that it can't stop us. Boom. At this time, Redfield, who had just sucked up the blood from the body of the Golden Lion clone, threw away the dying Golden Lion clone, looked at Im in the distance, licked the blood on his lips and said. At first I didn't want to do such a beastly act. But this woman's words compelled me to do so. Buggy, and everyone, my instincts tell me that this woman is not easy to mess with. She always gives me a very strange feeling. Obviously we can see her and feel her, but she doesn't seem to be here. Very tricky. Hawkeye frowned. Slashing seems useless to her. Just swallowed by Uranus. Redfield shook his head and said. As for whether the slash will work against her, I don't know. It's true that a single attack might not be able to do anything to her. Anyway, let me try first. Hawkeye pulled out the black knife, hockey covered in blue sword into the sky, and slashed at Im in the distant sky. Crack the sky. Following Hawkeye's indifferent voice, a cyan sword light pierced through the sky and fell towards Im in the distance. God destroys. Almost at the same time, Gu Kessie also shot without hesitation. The roar of the Hurricane Dragon King. The dragon followed closely. 3 terrifying attacks attacked Im from 3 different angles in the distance above the void. Seeing this scene, Im standing on top of Uranus couldn't help but frowned, as if feeling a little troubled. However, her expression did not change at all, and she raised her hands and pointed to the attack calmly on both sides. Time stands still. After a pause, she spoke again. The void swallows. Buzz, buzz, hiss hiss. In the next moment, Eagle Eye's sky split and Shank's god extinguisher were fixed on the sky on both sides almost at the same time. And the blue-gold dragon breath that the dragon spouted was also flying towards Uranus's mouth. Raise the sword. Dwanshan meteor. However, at this moment, Redfield, who had just recovered a lot of physical strength, suddenly made a big move. Swish swish swish. Bideo's black sword light with peak emperor-level destructive power entangled with black and red lightning, swept towards Im in the distance like a meteor shower. Really, the pupils can't help but shrink slightly, and the voice has a wave of waves. Space replacement. She closed her hands in the direction of Buggy and the others, and immediately the 2 terrifyingly powerful sword lights, one blue and one gold, which she fixed in the sky, reversed their direction and slashed towards the 100 sword lights that Redfield slashed out. Chi 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 boom boom boom. A huge explosion exploded above the sky. Frantic airwaves exploded in all directions. Although the 2 ultimate moves of Shanks and Hawkeye are very strong, they cannot completely smash all the current Leadfield road slashes. Still, the black-red sword light with more than a dozen Emperor-level peak destructive powers slashed down towards Im. Not stopped. Seeing this scene, everyone suddenly smiled, and at the same time had a general understanding of Im's ability. Bang bang bang. However, in the next second, I saw Im raising his red right hand and slashing at the dozens of sword lights coming down from the front. Time and space are broken. Bang. As Im's voice fell, the space in front of her was like a mirror, and it instantly shattered and scattered, revealing a dark space. Swish swish swish. And the dozens of black and red slashes that slashed down all fell in that space and disappeared. Back in time and space. Immediately, Im raised his hand and waved again, and the fragments of the broken space seemed to be pulled by something, and they recovered intact within a second. After seeing this scene, everyone present was completely silent. How can this be? That was the joint attack of Shanks, Dragon, Hawkeye, and Redfield. How could it be resolved so lightly? Too strong. This woman is too strong. Hey, you're lying, right? How is such a thing possible? What exactly is that woman's ability? Time and space, this fruit ability is too pervert, right? If this continues, there will be no way to fight. Even Captain Buggy can't face the siege of these 4 people so easily, right? Is she really a god? Not only the people present, but even those who were watching the live broadcast from all over the world, the originally excited people once again calmed down completely as if they had been poured with a basin of ice water. It can be said that IM's performance just now is like putting a silencer on the whole world, and the whole world has fallen into silence at this moment. Buggy, what do you say? When everyone was silent, Redfield turned his head and looked at Buggy, who was standing behind True several thousand hands. As soon as he said this, everyone's eyes fell on Buggy. Seeing this, Buggy couldn't help chuckling and said, "We all know that no matter any devil fruit has its upper limit. It's just that its upper limit depends on its host itself. Just like the Seraphim before. Although their flames have the ability to resist Admiral's one blow without injury, it can only resist one blow. Uranus, the power of Uranus poetry is so. The same goes for IM's abilities. In the final analysis, she has only reached the peak strength of the planetary level at best. As long as it does not reach the star level, it is not difficult for me." When Buggy said this, Redfield, Shanks, Hawkeye and others looked at him in confusion. However, at this moment, IM's complexion in the distant sky changed and he shouted, "You really know the planet-level secrets. A mere lower-dimensional creature has such a loud tone. It seems that my previous feeling was not wrong. Your strength has indeed reached the planetary level. But you are a little too naive to think. The gap between the peak planetary level and just entering the planetary level is very different. It turns out that you were really the pinnacle of the planetary level." Buggy showed a sly smile. "In that case, I'm relieved. Although I don't know what kind of shock the alien civilization you have come into contact with has given you, so that people like you are brainwashed and even willing to become the other's believers. But to me, you are just a person who is slightly stronger than me. For someone who doesn't even have the most basic qualities of a strong man, as long as there is no gap between admiral and ordinary sailors, there is no reason for me to lose." Snort. After hearing Buggy's words, there was a long-lost wave of human nature on IM's face, which was the anger after being defrauded of information. "Ridiculous lower-dimensional creature, let IM see if you are as powerful as you say." She directly raised her hand to slap Buggy and shouted, "Dimensional palm." Bang! In the next second, as IM raised his hand and patted the space in front of him, there was a muffled sound. Then in an instant, that small palm print turned into a huge palm with a diameter of hundreds of meters and slapped Buggy in the air. Woo woo woo. In the next moment, the terrifying wind pressure brought by the giant white palm and the powerful hockey caused the complexions of Redfield and the others below to change. "So strong. Do you need to shoot together?" "No. Look at Buggy's decision. I hope that guy won't try his best." Hawkeye, Long, Shanks and Redfield spoke almost simultaneously. It's just that Buggy at this time didn't intend to ask them to join forces, and a smile finally appeared on his face that had always been calm. Afterwards, the blue light scattered all over Buggy's body, covering a radius of several kilometers, and then clapped his hands together and shouted, "Shenzhen Armed Forces, bang fist, caw caw caw." In the next second, following Buggy's shout, the 3 adults beside him made a sideways movement of receiving punches almost at the same time. Bang bang bang. In an instant, 3 huge impact fists with a diameter of 100 meters soared into the sky to meet the giant palm with a diameter of several hundred meters. Boom boom boom. After the 3 wooden golem punched out, the 3 huge fists and the giant palm collided in the sky, and huge energy scattered in all directions. Boom. Immediately, a terrible explosion exploded in the sky. Seeing this scene, everyone felt a little relieved. Seems like it can be played. Crash. However, in the next instant, the giant palm that covered the sky appeared from the huge explosion smoke as if it hadn't suffered any damage, and volleyed towards Buggy's head again. This blow seemed to kill Buggy directly. Seeing this, the expressions of Redfield, Shanks, Long and Hawkeye in the distance changed, and they exhaled at the same time. "Not good. It's too late. That woman is too strong, fan." However, compared to Redfield's anxiety, Buggy's side remained calm. Looking at the huge palm that was about to fall hundreds of meters away, he just exuded a blue light all over his body, and said at the same time, "Shenzhen Armed Forces, wooden dragon spear." Caw caw caw. At the end of Buggy's words, the 3 huge wooden dragons wrapped around wooden golem's body suddenly surged, and then they were covered with a layer of black gold flames, and at the same time were wrapped around by the purple-black conqueror's hockey. At a glance, it seems that these 3 wooden dragons can breathe, constantly swallowing black and golden flames. In addition, they are surrounded by purple-black lightning, as if a real dragon descended into the world. In the next second, the 3 wooden dragons instantly collapsed straight. Crack. 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 Immediately, the 3 wooden golems held the tails of the 3 wooden dragons with both hands. Like a dragon using 3 long spears, the 3 wooden golems stepped on the moonwalk and soared into the sky, facing the huge palms falling from the sky, and stabbed the 3 wooden dragons like guns. Boom. 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 3 huge muffled sounds came from the sky, and the palm that fell hundreds of meters unexpectedly lingered above the sky for several seconds. 940. Efficient. Blocked. As expected of you, Buggy. Captain Buggy is awesome. Seeing this scene, the people behind immediately cheered excitedly. But in the next second, their smiles stopped on their faces. Although the huge palm of hundreds of meters was a little shrunk and damaged due to wooden golems' successive attacks, it still carried a terrifying pressure. Clack 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 clack, and the 3 wooden dragons above the sky have been shattered inch by inch, and countless cracks appeared on the trapped man's body. Just a few seconds later, 3 muffled sounds came from the sky. Crash. The 3 wooden dragons and the 3 wooden golem turned into countless pieces of wood and disintegrated, falling from the sky. Damn it, can't you stop it? Shanks ready to shoot. I think if Buggy doesn't speak up, we'd better not get involved. Indeed, it's absolutely impossible for that man to be like this. Have you guys forgotten? He still has a stronger ability that he hasn't used yet. After Long's reminder, everyone suddenly realized. Because the expressive power of the dense fruit is so eye-catching, they forget that Buggy's strongest is the one, split, fruit. Thinking of this, everyone couldn't help being surprised. It seems that from the beginning of the war to now, Buggy seems to have never used the ability of chop fruit. Thinking of this, everyone immediately felt relieved. They also want to see, what is Buggy waiting for, or what is he trying to test? When they looked at Buggy, they saw that his expression remained unchanged, as if the destruction of the wooden golem and the wooden dragon had no effect on him. Armed by gods, Senju transformation Buddha. Looking at the giant palm falling above his head, Buggy still didn't have the slightest intention of avoiding it. The blue light all over his body converged and poured into the top of the wooden Buddha's head, and fell down with his words. The 1,000 giant hands behind the wooden Buddha were at this moment surging up. Whoosh whoosh. In the next moment, the 1,000 giant hands behind the wooden Buddha finally fired in unison, like 1,000 temple dragons entwined with black-purple lightning and puffing out black-golden flames, roaring and soaring into the sky. After seeing this scene, everyone around was shocked. Only then did they understand that before Buggy had only used 200 or 300 giant hands to fight, it wasn't that he could only use so many, but that he couldn't use the other 700 giant hands at all. Is this moment the full power of Buggy's sensen fruit? Everyone is nervously staring at the giant palm in the sky. The calm and unhurried I am in the distance couldn't help but change slightly at this moment, because she actually felt a threat. Boom boom boom. In the next instant, 1,000 giant. Like 1,000 black dragons, his hand slammed directly on the giant palm that fell hundreds of meters away, and a sky-shattering roar erupted immediately. The airwave explodes and rolls. The dark clouds above the sky were all torn apart by the burst of airwaves. The violent air current blew all those watching the battle back several meters. Just the aftermath of the airflow caused by the collision with each other is so terrifying, everyone dare not think that if they were really hit by such a move, would they still be alive? What surprised everyone the most was that the huge palm hundreds of meters above the sky began to shrink at a speed visible to the naked eye while being attacked by those countless giant hands. Although the wooden hands were also damaged a lot due to the impact, it had no effect on the true several thousand hands that could be revived. Destroy 10 wooden hands, and Tianfan will be reborn again. Destroy 100 wooden hands, and regenerate another 100. It is precisely because of this ability of endless life that maintains the combat power of this move, Senju transformation Buddha, so that it will not decline at all. Unless Buggy Haki and stamina are exhausted, the combat power will always remain at its peak. This is the scary thing about Buggy's move. As for Buggy's stamina and Haki, don't worry about it at all. Buggy has absorbed the physical strength and life force of Kong, Seraphim Rocks, 5 Elders Mascent, Blackbeard and Sengoku one after another before. These are Admiral level or Emperor level combat forces, so that Buggy will not feel any physical strength at all. Unsupported phenomenon. Rumbling at the next moment, following the attack of Senju Wafo, it crazily bombarded the giant palm hundreds of meters away thousands of times, and the giant palm was finally blasted apart in the sky. Wow. After seeing this scene, everyone from the Buggy force in the rear immediately cheered excitedly. Ha 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 ha, I knew Captain Buggy could do it. It's too strong. The oppressive feeling of that giant palm just now almost made me breathless. Unexpectedly, it was still broken by Mr. Buggy. Master Buggy is invincible. Long live Lord Buggy. At the same time, Laidfield and others who were watching the battle in the distance also breathed a sigh of relief. Call Shanks let out a breath and exclaimed. I didn't expect Buggy to grow to such a degree. With such strength, he is no longer an opponent at all. Yeah, the old man thought that with the bonus of Vampire's fruit ability, he could overwhelm that guy. Redfield also chuckled and shook his head, it's still a lot worse. Although Long and Hawkeye didn't speak, they both nodded in agreement. At this time, they heard the voice of that Imson again. You have actually reached planet-level combat power. For a lower-dimensional creature in a lower-dimensional world, you are already very good. Suddenly, the corner of Im's mouth curled up. When everyone heard this, they immediately became angry. Hey, celestial dragons, are you still talking hard at this point? It won't be too late to say that when you can really defeat our Captain Buggy, right? That's right, being slapped in the face a few times isn't enough for you to understand how powerful Lord Buggy is. Hey, wait, what's that? My God, it's not true, is it? Don't lie. How is this possible? Are you kidding me? Just when the people behind were mocking Im, their faces changed in the next second. I saw Im sneering, raised his hand and took several shots at the void on their side. Then, under everyone's horrified eyes, the same palm covering the sky appeared above the sky again. It's just that there is not just one giant palm that covers the sky at this moment, but there are as many as 10. Those 10 giant palms hundreds of meters descended from the sky, as if the sky was really covered. Everyone's heart sank to the bottom. The people watching the live broadcast from all over the world were still cheering before, but their smiles froze on their faces at this moment, and some people even showed signs of despair. After all, before Buggy used the 1,000 giant hands of the wooden Buddha to attack for so long before smashing one palm, how to solve it now that has one hand? If it was really hit by this giant palm, even the 4 emperors would be seriously injured. As for other people, they may die under this kind of attack directly. Is this really the end of it? It's finally the last one left. Everyone is extremely unwilling at the moment. Just when everyone was desperate, Uta's moving voice sounded in the live phone bug. Trust that man. Trust Lord Buggy, he never disappoints us. He won't fall here. I firmly believe that Master Buggy will lead us into a new era. Swish. After Uta's words fell, the eyes of the world focused on Barcelona at this moment. They didn't blink their eyes, for fear of missing any details. Just when everyone was thinking about what Buggy would do in the face of this terrifying attack, they suddenly laughed when they saw Buggy. What does it mean? Immediately, everyone heard the man's voice. You are so arrogant. This sentence fell in everyone's ears, and there was a feeling that they heard that I am talking. But obviously, the person who said those words was that man. People who can still say such words in the face of such a near-desperate moment are either stupid or confident. If someone else said it, it would definitely make everyone laugh in their hearts. But if you put it on the man in front of you, it will bring you a strong sense of security. Even at this time, is there still such an absolute certainty? Redfield, Shanks, Long and Hawkeye all stared at Buggy's back. Let us see how much strength you have hidden. Im, who was standing above Uranus's head in the distance, seemed to have heard a joke, and showed a disdainful smile and said. Creatures in the lower dimensional world perish in the stubborn dying struggle. Wood clone. Ignoring Im's words, Buggy spoke again in a calm voice. Then one after another figures slowly rose from the top of the huge wooden Buddha under Buggy's feet. The figures started out as wood, and soon became a figure that looked exactly like Buggy. Under everyone's shocked eyes, the 10 Buggy clapped their hands together. Everyone who saw this scene couldn't help but twitch their brows. Every time Buggy clapped his hands together, it gave them a very ridiculous feeling. It seems that as long as you clap your hands together and shout something, half of it will appear. Star Core Annihilation. Star Core Annihilation. Star Core Annihilation. And the scene that happened at this moment really confirmed what Buggy and the others thought. Appeared. Clap your hands and say what you want. Zzz. In the next second, a white gold ball of light surrounded by black gold flames and purple black lightning appeared in the palms of the 10 Buggy, and then the white gold ball reached a distance of 2 to 3 meters in diameter in the blink of an eye. Whoosh whoosh. In the next moment, a clone of Zhongji directly pushed the golden ball of light that was 2 meters in diameter wrapped in black gold flames and purple black lightning to the palm that had fallen from the moment. My grass. No way. Can this thing hold 10? After seeing this scene, Redfield, Shanks, Dragon, Hawkeye, and even Hancock, who had stopped fighting in the distance, didn't react yet, but Sunbel, Jinbei, Tezzolo and other members of the Buggy Pirates saw this scene. After one scene, they couldn't help but swear. Mr. Sunbel, who are you? Shanks looked puzzled at Sunbell in the distance. All I can say is, Shanks, take a look, Sunbell said confidently. Buggy will not let us down, but do protect your ears. That's right, everyone cover your ears. Jinbei also covered his ears with his big hands after reminding. Seeing the extremely confident appearance of the two of them, Ladefield and the others looked at each other in blank dismay. Is the heart saying so awesome? Im's brows in the distance also frowned, and she could feel the terrifying power contained in those 10 platinum light spheres. It's hard for her to imagine that a mere creature in the lower dimensional world can use this kind of energy level ability. However, she was not in a hurry to make a move, but instead looked at it thoughtfully. She would like to see what tricks this creature in the lower dimensional world can play. She firmly does not believe that the creature in the lower dimensional world can stop an attack of this level. Even if he can really block it, he still has the weapon bestowed by the Lord. At that time, use that national treasure to completely solve this obstructive guy. To make such a noise when the Lord is about to come is simply to embarrass her in front of the Lord. Wouldn't it be nice to be a farm turkey with peace of mind? Im's red eyes are full of indifference, as if a god looks down on all living beings, without a trace of emotion. Whoosh whoosh woo woo woo. 10 platinum light spheres wrapped in black gold flames and purple-black lightning quickly approached the giant palms in the sky, each with a diameter of hundreds of meters. Zzz. Chi 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 chi. When the two attacks were tens of meters apart, the energy between them began to go berserk. Countless lightning and muffled sounds vibrated to the outside. After the people watching the battle below felt such a terrifying energy, they were all sweating for a while before standing upright. Hey, isn't it? Is this so scary without the collision? Nonsense. Star Core Annihilation is Master Buggy's ultimate kill. Wouldn't it be terrible to use 10 ultimate skills at once? What shocked me even more is that Mr. Buggy can really compete with that woman who has lived for more than 800 years. She is so strong. That's right. That woman can't say she is a god. Ha ha ha. So what about gods? Our Master Buggy wants to kill gods. That's right. Godslayer's nickname is not for nothing. Lord Buggy, kill him. Kill him without leaving a piece of him. At this moment, countless spectators watched the battle with apprehension. At this point in the battle, the commander-in-chief of the 3 armies died, one of the 5 elders died, and the other 3 also fell into a near-death state. The former Marine Sengoku died in battle, and the 4 emperors Blackbeard died in battle. If they still can't win at this point, I'm afraid they will still be enslaved by the world government in the next 1,000 years. Since Buggy's "I have a dream" speech, this flame of unwillingness has quietly ignited in the hearts of people all over the world. If there is power of faith in this world, we can see that the power of faith of people all over the world is converging towards Marie Joyce, the holy place on the red line. And the end of the power of faith is the man who is now fighting the god who enslaved them. At the same time, in the sky that is about to approach Redline, a huge black pterosaur is rushing towards Redline's battlefield full of fighting. And there are several people lying on the back of this huge black pterosaur. If Buggy was here, he would be able to recognize at a glance that these people are all members of the Straw Hat Pirates. After learning that Buggy started the World War, and that Robin, Ace and Sabo also participated in the war, Luffy and the others no longer have the intention of going on vacation. In the end, it was Nami who transformed into the ugly pteranodon form that she least wanted to transform into, and then took Luffy and the others to fly at high speed. It is also fortunate that Nami's physical fitness has been strengthened by the ability of the Zone Dragon Fruit, otherwise it would be really difficult to fly with so many people for a long time. Nami, hurry up. Luffy spoke anxiously. Stop rushing. Nami said speechlessly. We'll be there soon, didn't you hear? The shouts of killing on the Red 10 continent ahead. Huh? Didn't hear you. Luffy was a little puzzled. Forget it if you didn't hear. Look, here you are. The Red King continent is in front of you. Nami looked up at Redline in the clouds and said solemnly. Luffy, the battle is now in full swing. If you want to enter the battlefield, you must reveal your identity. Don't fool around to know. Otherwise, you will be besieged. Ah, I understand. Luffy said in a deep voice. Don't worry Nami-san, I will watch over Luffy. Sanji also spoke seriously. The best war in the world. Zoro licked the corner of his mouth and said. I can already smell blood. Ah, I have a disease that will kill me if I go to the battlefield. I am dying, Chopper save me. Usolan frantically crossed himself on his chest. Chopper, who was being hugged by Frankie, looked at Usopp in shock and said. Hey, Usopp, are you dying? Yo ho 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 ho. Brook laughed and said. I didn't expect to be able to participate in this kind of world-changing war, but I'm really looking forward to it. Who said no? Frankie also grinned. Puff. 10 seconds later, the huge black pteranodon broke through the clouds and finally saw the battlefield above the red line ahead. After seeing the battlefield in front of them, Luffy and others were also stunned for a while. I saw lightning and thunder in the thunderfield thousands of meters above the sky in the distance. And the other area intertwined and colliding with the sky full of thunder is a field of golden light. Even the clouds above the sky are dyed golden, emitting light, which looks extremely dazzling. On the battlefield below, an area several thousand meters away has been completely occupied by lava and flames. In the midair, there is a giant bird burning with blue golden flames hovering, and from time to time, it shoots hundreds of thousands of shots at the magma field below. Raya's cyan flame. Not far from this battlefield of flames is a man held up in the air, and below is the collision of the river. Seas of sand were constantly being frozen, and glaciers were being corroded and turned into seas of sand. It was even the same for a while. Boom boom boom. What shocked Luffy and the others the most was that meteorites with orange-red flames kept falling from the sky. This scene of the end of the world is simply shocking. However, when those meteorites fell to a height of 1,000 meters above the ground, they were dragged by the wind that rolled up, and they actually just floated in midair. At this time, there are already hundreds of meteorites floating in the sky. This battlefield immediately left Luffy and the others dumbfounded. Looking at the battlefield in front of them, everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates was a little confused, deeply shocked by the huge battlefield in front of them. Oh my god. Is this the battle between world government and 4 emperors Buggy? It's spectacular. Huh? Brother is here too. Senior brother? Zoro, did you just say your senior brother? Green Algae Head, do you still have your brothers? Ah, that's Hawkeye's godson. He's much younger than me, but his swordsmanship is no weaker than mine. Look over there, the one with a pair of black wings blazing from behind is. Hey. Ability user. I'm stupid. Why does his ability look so familiar? Yeah, it turns out that Mr. One from Crocodile's Baroque Studio, you should have seen it in the Summit War live broadcast. Wait. Luffy, look over there. How is that man still alive? And the rudder is missing from his head. Just as they were observing the battlefield to see where to cut in, suddenly Nami's exclamation caught the attention of the Straw Hats. Following Nami's pointing direction, everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates looked over. The man with long golden hair, wearing a yellow kimono, holding 2 long swords and a cigar in his mouth is not exactly the man they defeated. Is the big pirate Golden Lion? Hey. What's going on? There's a guy exactly like him over there. Is it a capable person? No. It looks like there are 2 people. F*K. What's the situation? Illusion. When? It's terrible. The world war is terrible. The Straw Hats are really confused at this time. Why are there 2 golden lions? However, what really shocked them had just begun. Over there. Look over there. The cigarette in Sanji's mouth fell to the ground, and he pointed at the 2 battlefields in the distance with a trembling mouth and said, "Isn't that Kaido of the Beasts? Although he looks young, he is absolutely right. Why are there 2 Kaido of the Beasts?" Oh my god. Nami exclaimed, not only Baisho Kaido, there are also 2 admirals under Baisho Kaido's command, and there are 2 flames. Aren't they all executed? Illusion. It must be an illusion. Usopp took out a bunch of garlic out of nowhere and waved it around. Chopper also hugged Blueno's leg in horror and said in fear, "Hey. Did we meet a ghost?" Hearing this, while Blueno's head popped open, a group of skull-shaped green souls flew out from the skycap and approached Chopper in a sinister way. Yes. Hey. Ghost. Chopper jumped into Frankie's arms. Bang. Bang. Nami raised his hand and yelled at Blueno and Usopp. You give me almost the same order. Hey. I'm about to enter the battlefield, do you all want to die? Ha! Seeing this scene, Luffy clutched his stomach and laughed. His Sanji sighed after exhaling a puff of smoke ring. Actually, I probably know why there are 2 identical golden lions, Kaidos, and JH-ins, and I haven't had the chance to tell you about them before. This technology is actually a cloning technology mastered by my former family Germa 66. As long as there are enough cells and resources, they can clone people. The cloned people also have life, and the appearance and body can be said to be exactly the same, and there is no difference at all. At the beginning, my sister just didn't want me to continue being abused in the family, so she let me escape from Germa 66. Unexpectedly, I saw this kind of technology in this place. Sanji's words made everyone in the Straw Hats look at him in shock. For a while, everyone was speechless. No one thought that Sanji would have such an experience. Hey. Luffy, and you guys don't talk about this at this time. Germa 66 has a fart relationship with you, and these clones have nothing to do with you. Chef, if you want to be sentimental, come back after this war is over. Now we have to start strategizing. Zoro's words immediately broke the stalemate of the Straw Hats. But it was precisely because of their words that everyone turned their attention to the battlefield again. Sanji smiled too. Boom! Just as they were about to join the battlefield, a shocking explosion came from the sky behind Marie Joy's, the Holy Land in the distance. Boom boom boom, huge sound waves vibrated in all directions, and rays of light as dazzling as the sun lit up in the sky. Even if the terrifying aftermath of energy is tens of kilometers away, they can feel it clearly in this place where they are. Over there, what's the situation? What a strong energy fluctuation. We can feel terrible at such a distance, so what will happen at a close distance? It seems that there should be the final battlefield. Look here, although there are cadres of the Buggy pirates, Buggy himself is not here, and I heard that your father Luffy, the red-haired Shanks, and Hawkeye are all here, and they are not here. Then shall we go there? The battle over there is not something we can participate in, so let's stay and help expand the results. Good. After the discussion, the Straw Hat Pirates also began to join the battle. The world government side is already in dire straits, and now with the addition of the Straw Hat Pirates, the victorious Kaiping quickly tilts towards Buggy's side. Many Marine Vice Admirals showed despair and bitterness. As for the God's Punishment Army formed by the world government, they are all emotionless clones. They kill wildly regardless of life and death, and some of them are madly cutting down the huge vines in the flower and tree world. Without command, these people are like a mess. They don't know at all that this flower and tree world can't be cut down. The more these people enter the Washuji forest, the more energy the Washuji can self-replenish and recover. Until the 100,000 God's Punishment Army is completely exhausted. Of course, with the addition of Luffy and the others at this moment, the God's Punishment Army collapsed faster. No one expected that a Straw Hat gang would pop out halfway. Luffy, Sabo and Ace, who were fighting, also saw Luffy joining them, and the three brothers suddenly became excited, and their combat power soared crazily. This doubled the pressure on Akainu, who was already facing Ace and Marco in 1 versus 2. Kizaru was completely held back by Enel. Even if he tried his best, he couldn't get rid of Enel, and finally he could only slowly entangle with him. It's not something that can be done in a day or two if they want to decide the winner with their strength. The same is true for Aokiji and Crocodile at the moment. The two of them basically fought back and forth, and it's not like a day or two can tell the winner. Most outrageous of all are Jabba and Fujitora fighting in the sky. The battle between the two of them was almost as if they were competing with each other. It seemed that meteorites fell from the sky again, hurricanes swept over again, and the land rose from the ground and turned into spears that shot up into the sky and stabbed Fujitora. That is to say, no one is in the mood to pay attention to the two of them at this time. Otherwise, Fujitora's fight against match-fixing will definitely be exposed. Anyway, Aokiji and Crocodile are doing their best, even if they are acting, others will not be able to see it. The real tragedy is on Akainu's side. Facing Mera Mera Fruit and Marco's Phoenix, two abilities awakened, Ace's pressure can be said to be enormous. Especially after Ace's Mera Mera Fruit has finished awakening, the temperature of Lava Lava Fruit doesn't have much effect on him at all. There is no such thing as fruit ability restraint. Coupled with Marco's healing ability, it can be said that Akainu's physical strength is rapidly losing, and his injuries are also rapidly expanding. Anyone with a discerning eye can tell at a glance that the failure due to disgust is just a problem in the world. In addition, those clones of the Knights of God don't have any IQ at all. They know how to fight madly with their opponents, and they don't even know how to come to him to rescue him, which puts Akainu in even more trouble. During the battle, Akainu also took the time to scan the entire battlefield with knowledge color. With this sweep, Akainu's complexion suddenly turned ugly. Because at least 50,000 of the 100,000 God's Punishment Army have been wiped out in this short period of time. Coupled with the huge meteorites from the sky that accurately smashed into the God's Punishment Army from time to time, as well as the falling thunder, it made the God's Punishment Army unable to parry. Buzz, however, at this moment, a tyrannical conqueror's haki directly swept across the battlefield, causing at least 20,000 God's Punishment Army to fall down like harvesting wheat. Conqueror's haki. Who is it? The appearance of this conqueror's haki immediately caused all eyes on the battlefield to look towards one place. Then they saw a boy who was covered in white, with a white arrogance floating behind him, just floating in the sky. Ha 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 ha! Immediately afterwards, the boy's laughter resounded across the battlefield. When they saw this young man, everyone recognized him. New 4 Emperor's Monkey D. Luffy. I didn't expect this kid to come too. Ha 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 ha. World government, your doomsday is here. I remember Luffy is called Uncle Captain Buggy, right? Be careful. At least it helped us relieve a lot of pressure. Everyone in the Buggy pirates who are fighting is smiling. The joining of Luffy and the others was like giving them a shot of stimulant. Ha 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 ha. At this moment, another laugh sounded from the other side, and then a slightly old voice echoed. Luffy didn't expect you to come here. It seems that the demise of the world government is unstoppable. Swish. At this moment, everyone immediately turned their eyes to the place where the voice came from. Immediately, everyone saw the top of a vine in Washuji, and there was a man with white hair, a cloak over his shoulders and 10 western swords hanging from his waist, standing there. One Piece Roger's deputy captain, Pluton Rayleigh. My god. Mr. Rayleigh is here, ha ha ha, world government, perish. Just when everyone was excited, Rayleigh's voice sounded again. It seems that we are not the only ones who came to witness the destruction of the world government. Are there so many people here? It's very lively. With the arrival of Luffy and Rayleigh to join the battlefield, everyone in the Buggy Pirates couldn't help showing shock and surprise. But soon they understood that one of these two was their captain's nephew, and the other was their captain's former vice-captain. It is normal to come to help at such a critical time. However, what really surprised them was what happened next. When the group of people appeared on the human elevator behind the Red Line, everyone was shocked. Guys, the Red Line is here. Join Mr. Buggy and kill the Celestial Dragons. Kill the Celestial Dragons. Kill the Celestial Dragons. Kill the Celestial Dragons. Batch after batch of people came down from the Red Line. After jumping off the pulled boat, these people began to arrange their weapons and shouted with the lead of 10 green rooster heads. This green rooster head is also a relatively famous pirate in recent years. Bartolomeo, one of the supernovas, is the owner of the barrier fruit ability. Unexpectedly, this man also chose to join the battle. However, Bartolomeo's arrival is just the beginning. After that, there are also members of the former Buggy Pirates led by Alvida, who is a slippery fruit ability user. The 8 treasure marines saved by Buggy from Doflamingo in Dressrosa. As well as the handsome pirates, the Eddy Pirates, the Dongtada Pirates, and even the giant pirates who were rescued by Buggy in the Dressrosa incident. The new giant soldiers pirates, headed by Helding. Especially on these people's ships, many civilians who are not pirates have also joined in this war. The addition of such a huge force almost instantly tilted the balance of the battle. The Celestial Dragons were directly destroyed. A group of Marine Vice Admiral, Rear Admiral and other high-end combat forces who tried their best to maintain the balance were also completely defeated by this wave. Now the only ones who can barely maintain it are the 2 Admirals of Marine and the Admiral of Marine. There are also 2 Seraphs and 10 members of the Knights of God in the distance. Even at this time, it is very difficult for them to maintain the battle situation. Because these people who joined did not give them a one-on-one chance at all, and all chose to go shoulder to shoulder. It's an all-out war to destroy the Celestial Dragons. No one will foolishly say, "You don't need to intervene in my battle," or something like that. The purpose of the people who come here is very clear, to destroy the Celestial Dragons. Ha 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 ha, looks like Lousy is not late yet. Celestial Dragons die. Join the Supernova Alliance. Just when the war was overwhelming, another group of members appeared on the Red Line. It was the pirates of the Era of Evil Supernova that once kept pace with the Straw Hat Pirates. They are the Kid Pirates headed by Utta's Kid. The Radio Pirates headed by Skulikman Arpu. The Hawkins Pirates headed by Basil Hawkins. The Drake Pirates headed by X Drake. The Pawnee Pirates headed by Jewelry Pony. The Flame Tank Pirates headed by Capone Beige. Pirates of Broken Monks headed by U Rouge. With the addition of these forces, there is no suspense in the war on the Red Line. In a short time, the 2 Seraphs were dealt with by Zoro and Hawkeye, and Hancock and Bonnie together. Those few cloned Golden Lions and Kaidos, as well as those of the Knights of God, were also quickly besieged and beaten to the brink of death. As for the high-end battlefield, it is outrageous. Fujitora and Aokiji directly raised their hands to express their surrender. They will not fight to the death for the world government. The worst is Akainu. This guy was beaten up by Luffy, Ace and Marco, and he was seriously injured at this time. Originally, Fujitora and Aokiji pleaded, Jabba intervened, and Luffy, Ace and Marco were not ready to continue. But Akainu refused to surrender to the pirates, and continued to attack Luffy, Ace and Marco regardless. His appearance of preferring death to submission immediately made many people have a little admiration for Akainu, but more people are indifferent and full of murderous intent. There is no other, because the loyalty of the Garden Dog is dedicated to the heaven and man. So, Sabo, who hated celestial dragons since he was a child, also joined the battle, and Sabo's angry roar echoed in the sky. Since you Akainu want to ask for death, I will send you to die. Anyway, the commander-in-chief of the 3 armies is dead, so what is the death of you, the Marine Marshal? Go to the underworld and continue to be loyal to the celestial dragons. Hearing Sabo's words, Akainu's blood-stained face showed a bit of grimness and pain. I have to say, Sabo's words are really murderous. Allegiance to the celestial dragons, he Akainu never thought of being loyal to this kind of trash. He just wants to wipe out this era of great pirates too. But no matter how he comforts himself in his heart, he knows that he has always been loyal to the celestial dragons, and has always been the loyal dog of the celestial dragons. His extreme justice did not take any protection of civilians into his heart at all. In his opinion, as long as he can kill all the pirates, it will be fine. What do you mean the scholars of Ohara aren't pirates? Those are rebels. Now that he has cleared the rebels for the world government, it is impossible to get rid of his identity as a celestial dragon's dog. That's why Sabo didn't care about anything and went all out to fight. For a while, Akainu was besieged by 4 admiral-level masters, and within a few minutes, he was completely beaten to a state of serious injury and near death. After seeing Akainu like this, Sabo originally wanted to kill the grass. After all, he doesn't know much about Akainu, but as far as he is loyal to the celestial dragons, he is undisputedly killable. A person like Akainu, who knows what kind of revenge the world will do in the future. What's more, Sabo, the chief of the revolutionary army, hates people like Akainu who beat everyone to death with one shot. Swish. But at this moment, a golden light flashed down from the sky, and it came to Sabo, Luffy, Ace and Marco in the blink of an eye. The person who came was shining with golden light, and under the dazzling golden light, Kizaru's wretched face was gradually revealed in front of everyone's eyes, and then he chuckled softly. 4 little brothers, I don't know if my surrender can be exchanged for giving Sakazuki a chance to live. We'll look after him. At this time Aokiji also stood up. Fujitora nodded and said, if you are worried, you can put sea-stone handcuffs on him. Sabo, Luffy, Ace and Marco looked at each other, and then they all set their sights on Jabba. So be it. Jabba nodded. Hurry up and finish it. Bullet on the side said anxiously. I can feel that several tyrannical auras have disappeared from the battlefield over there, we must hurry over there. Scoff just as Bullet finished speaking. A blue electric arc rushed directly to the direction of Pangu City behind at a terrifying speed, and Enel's voice echoed in the sky at the same time. I'll go over to Mr. Jabba first, it seems that something is wrong with the battle over there. Walk. Jabba nodded and said, let's go too. While speaking, he took off and rushed towards Pangu City. After the 3 admirals looked at each other for a while, Fujitora manipulated a stone slab to set up Akainu and flew towards the rear. The reinforcements who came over were also very curious at this time, and hurried on their way one after another. Boom. 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 But when these people were just halfway through the journey, an explosion of energy that was more terrifying than the aftermath of the previous explosion suddenly erupted in the direction of Pangu City tens of kilometers ahead. Even if they were dozens of kilometers away, many of them were blown hundreds of meters away by the aftermath of the explosion. The terrifying energy emitted by the aftermath made these people look pale. No one thought that just the aftermath of the explosion would have such a terrible effect. But when they saw that the sky and the ground were surrounded by a piece of white light like the sun falling in the distance, everyone's expressions were completely horrified. Where the hell is going on? The people who started to rush after them couldn't notice it at all. But at this time, Jabba and his group, who were traveling at a high speed, were above the sky, and they could see the scene ahead more clearly. After they had been on their way for a few minutes, the aftermath of the explosion finally dissipated little by little. But when they saw the situation ahead, even the 3 brothers Jabba, Bullet, Enel, Luffy, Marco, and several admirals in Marine were all dumbfounded. I saw a huge pothole with a length of hundreds of kilometers on the red line ahead. The most shocking thing is the few Marine admirals who have been here before, and they exclaimed almost at the same time. Pangu City, disappear. After seeing the big pit in front of them, Jabba and others were all dumbfounded. This. What the hell happened just now? Mr. Yishao, if I guessed right just now, this place should be the location of Pangu City, a restricted area of the world government, right? That's right. I was lucky enough to come here once before, and it should be not far ahead. It's so shocking. Was it caused by the confrontation just now? How outrageous this is. Wait. Captain Buggy and them. Man, where? Over there. They're all on Pluton. Hiss, look over there. Who is that woman? Her breath is too strong. This is the first time this old man has felt such a powerful aura. Does this kind of monster really exist in this world? Even Buggy's aura is not as strong as hers. Is this woman the king of the world that Mr. Buggy said? The last card of the world government? Jabba, Bullet and others, as well as a few Marine admirals, were all shocked and unbelievable at this time. Especially at this time, when they used knowledge to detect Im's breath, they suddenly felt oppressed by the terrible monster and couldn't breathe. You know they are the top combat power in the world. Even they have to feel the terrifying existence. What kind of guy can have this kind of strength? Although they knew that there was a king of the world in the world government who had lived for more than 800 years when they watched the live broadcast before, they still felt shocked when they saw it with their own eyes. At this time, they finally understood why the previous explosion wiped out Pangu City directly. If Buggy had been fighting such horrible monsters before, it would be normal for this to happen. But even so, it still shocked them. That's the red line with a range of 100 kilometers, and it was blown out of a Tianqing just like that. It is really unimaginable. If one of them is hit, they will be smashed to pieces, right? Just when everyone was shocked by the scene in front of them, the water blue protective film of G Pluto Y Kong, which was located above the other 10 directions, was slowly fading at this time. Redfield and others who had already returned to Pluton were all gasping for breath at this time. If it wasn't for the critical moment, Buggy sent them all back to Pluton in advance, I'm afraid they would all end up seriously injured even if they didn't die now. Buggy, this guy. It's okay. It's a good thing the F*King labor runs fast. Bluno, you saved our lives. So F*King timely. Hey. It was Captain Buggy who informed me in advance that I was able to respond, otherwise I would have been taken down. It's terrible. This kind of attack is not something we can fight against at this level. How on earth did Buggy cultivate? It's too strong. The strength of that woman is also the same. She is not at the same level as us at all. No wonder she was so confident before. Because of that blow just now, the celestial dragons hidden in Pangu City are probably dead. If there is anything else, maybe only the captured celestial dragons of Marie Joyce are left. Hey. Is that so? It's okay. Okay. I'm worried that there won't be a punching bag then. Ha 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 ha. At this time, the atmosphere on the Pluto has relaxed from the panic at the beginning to the present. Uta and Robin also went live again, restarting the phone bugs around them. Beep beep with the signal source debugged by Vegapunk restarting. The previously interrupted live broadcast around the world was restarted. Then, the smiling faces of UTA and Robin appeared on the live screen, and the former smiled slightly. Are the audience friends waiting a little anxiously? Because of the terrible aftermath caused by the explosion, the live broadcast was temporarily interrupted. But now it's all right. After hearing Uta's words, everyone watching the live broadcast from all over the world breathed a sigh of relief. Ha 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 ha, the live broadcast can be started again, which means that the celestial dragons have not won. I told you a long time ago, Lord Buggy is invincible. I regretted it just now. I would have known which ships to go to the Holy Land Marie Joyce with. Wait. Look. What is that? What a big hole. How big is this? Tens of kilometers. My God. What about the Pangu City before? What about the huge castle and palace complex? All disappeared. It's horrible. Is this the scene from the explosion just now? Where's Mr. Buggy? How's Mr. Buggy? Yeah. Is Mr. Buggy okay? As if hearing the voices of countless people, UTA nodded at Vegapunk, who immediately began to adjust the angle. As the phone bug raised its head, the angle of view also began to slowly move upwards. Immediately, everyone saw that, at an altitude of several thousand meters, Buggy was quietly suspended in the sky covered in platinum flames. On the opposite side of Buggy, the woman named IM was still standing on the giant dragon newt that seemed to be lying in the void, confronting Buggy in the distance. However, at this moment, IM was bathed in golden red arrogance that soared to the sky, and her hair had turned into a piece of snow white at this moment, together with her clothes. The snow white and golden red colors look more eye-catching and magical against each other. This Robin sternly explained. Through the live broadcast of the phone bug, you may not feel anything, but what I want to say is that the aura exuded by that woman is a terrifying aura that can overwhelm Admiral. Perhaps it is precisely because she possesses such terrifying strength that she disregards life so much. In fact, she who has lived for more than 800 years is no different from a god to us. That's right, everyone around the world. Our Mr. Buggy, he's fighting the gods right now. It can be said that this battle is the key battle that determines the future direction of the world. If you win, the world will go red. If you lose, the world will fall into the abyss. Comrades around the world, let's pray for Mr. Buggy. Everyone who was smiling excitedly because they had just seen the rebroadcast gradually fell silent at this moment. The originally lively live broadcast venues all over the world gradually became silent at this moment. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the two figures above the sky, and nervous expressions began to appear on their faces. Robin didn't remind these people that they didn't care too much before, but the situation at this moment made them understand the seriousness of the matter. Many people even put their hands together and began to pray. At the same time, Holy land, above the sky. I am, who was bathed in golden red arrogance, looked at Buggy's indifferent expression in the distance, and there was a touch of shock. After a while, she sighed and said, I didn't expect a creature like you to appear in such a lower dimensional world. It really surprised me. Is it really just surprise? Buggy stood in the air, with his hands in his pockets, his white cloak fluttering in the wind. He chuckled and said, You have used the full awakening mode of the fruit ability at this moment. It seems a bit wrong. Is it because you are afraid? Presumptuous. After hearing Buggy's words, Im's peerless face on the opposite side suddenly revealed a look of anger and shouted at Buggy. Do you really think that you are strong enough to compete with me? Now that you already know so much information, you should also know that our celestial dragons have a national treasure, right? Don't think that you are safe because you can resist my attack. Before the national treasure bestowed by the Lord, you are nothing. Oh? A national treasure of the celestial dragons? Buggy still didn't show any panic. Instead he raised his hand and made a pleased gesture. I'm also curious, even Uranus has appeared. Where is the national treasure of your celestial dragons? After all, Pangu City was bombed before, and you didn't seem to even frown. It seems that this national treasure should and is not on the red line. Since it's no longer on the red line, could it be? When Buggy said this, he paused, raised his hand and pointed upwards. Is it in the sky? Hearing this, Im's expression changed, and immediately he revealed a beautiful smile, like a snow lotus blooming on an iceberg, peerless in the world. I have to say, you are really the only creature in this lower dimensional world that makes me look differently. If you hadn't offended me, offended the majesty of purpose. I really want to save your life. You guessed it right. The national treasure given by the Lord is naturally in the sky, but it is different from the sky that you lower dimensional creatures recognize. It exists outside our planet, in orbit. Having said that, the corner of Im's mouth twitched into a mysterious arc, and he spoke with deep meaning. You are so smart. Have you ever wondered why the Grand Line's magnetic field is chaotic? How did Calm Belt come into being? Can't understand. This is also normal. Even Vegapunk, who claims to be the strongest brain in the world today, can't understand it. Because, this is beyond the cognitive concept of you lower dimensional creatures. The moment has come. Before you die, let's fulfill the last wish of you creatures of the lower dimension world. The Lord called it, Celestial Magnetic Field around the disturbance instrument. Celestial Magnetic Field Disruptor. After hearing the name, Buggy couldn't help showing a look of surprise. You mean, the magnetic field chaos of the Grand Line, and the formation of the Calm Belt are not natural, but man-made by you celestial dragons? Of course not. I said devoutly. How can creatures in the lower dimensional world do this? The reason why such a situation occurs is naturally the work of the Lord. Host? Buggy raised his eyebrows, somewhat understanding. It seems that it is a high-latitude alien civilization that can make you so devout, otherwise a character like you would not be so religious. Snort. I coldly snorted and said, What do you know? What is an alien civilization? The Lord is the existence that rules the universe. Just teaching me some small tricks completely locked the technological development of this world. This celestial magnetic field disruptor is for the convenience of me ruling this world, so it gradually increases in size, completely forming areas like the Grand Line, New World and Calm Belt. Even the islands of this world were once one continent held together. Can you comprehend the divine art of dividing a continent into innumerable islands? No, you don't understand. This is an existence that the creatures in your lower dimensional world cannot understand. Hearing these remarks, Buggy was really shocked. Not only Buggy, everyone present, and everyone watching the live broadcast from all over the world were completely dumbfounded. What did they just hear? The magnetic field is more complicated, but they can still understand the words that a whole continent has been divided into countless islands scattered all over the world. Able to do this? It's not an exaggeration to say it's a god, right? It's outrageous. At this moment, audiences all over the world are in a state of confusion. Do gods really exist? The entire continent is actually divided into countless islands. Why is this? They couldn't understand for a while. Even Jabba, Bullet and others, Fujitora, Aokiji, and Kazaru are all looking at each other at this moment, unable to understand. I see. Just when everyone was stunned and confused, Buggy's voice appeared in the sky. Who was feeling extremely proud could not help but frown and turn to look at Buggy. It seems that your main purpose is very strong. Buggy showed a smile. Do they want our world that much? Even at the expense of separating the continents, in order to prevent this planet from forming an overall civilization, it will be more convenient for them to control it later, right? The same is true for this celestial magnetic field disruptor. Separate the continent into countless islands, and then use the celestial magnetic field disruptor to disrupt the magnetic field to gradually form three special areas: Grand Line, New World, and Calm Belt. Separate people from all over the world, prevent them from forming a complete civilization, prevent the unification of civilizations from bringing about a qualitative leap in technology, and avoid the emergence of the next interstellar civilization. In this way, he can easily rule the world when they come. So when the civilization of the Sun God Kingdom reached a certain point, they gave you things like technology lock. Let you lock the technological development of the Sun God Kingdom, and then you internal traitors will create chaos, and finally you will rebel and successfully control the world. And with celestial magnetic field disruptor, Grand Line, New World, and Calm Belt, these conditions, coupled with the development of slavery, will make society go backwards, so that it will be better for you balls to control the world. That's the purpose, right? As soon as Buggy's words came out, the world was shocked. Swish. At this moment, almost everyone's eyes fell on the woman named I Am. At this moment, her face could no longer maintain the previous indifference, it was already filled with shock and disbelief. You know so clearly. You must know that even I Am has never told anyone about this kind of thing. This is the core secret that the Lord has given her. However, it wasn't just I Am who was shocked by Buggy's words. The people who followed up from the Holy Land, Marie Joys, were also shocked and speechless after hearing these words. At this moment, the people watching the live broadcast all over the world are in an uproar again. No way, after knowing the secrets in front of me, who can remain calm? It turns out that so many islands in the world were formed in this way. Also, the magnetic field problems of the Grand Line, New World, and Calm Belt were actually caused by someone else's intervention. Is this really something humans can do? Doesn't that mean that there really is a God in the world? That woman has been talking about the Lord before. Even with such a strong, she wants to recognize him as the Lord. How terrifying is it? It's over. Being targeted by such a terrifying existence, wouldn't our world be completely over? Even if Master Buggy wins this woman, what about the master behind her? Facing such a guy, what should we do? Even Lord Buggy. Shut up. Master Buggy is invincible, he can definitely protect our world. That's right. Don't question, just believe. Master Buggy has never let us down. Did any of you think that 2 years later, today will be the day when the world government will be destroyed? Lord Buggy did it. He can overthrow the world government today, and he will be able to resist foreign enemies in the future. Long live Lord Buggy. Long live Master Buggy. As if wanting to resist the fear caused by the unknown Lord in their hearts, everyone watching the live broadcast from all over the world shouted those 6 words again at the top of their lungs. These 6 words contain the last hope of everyone in this world. Compared to the desperate mood of all the people watching the live broadcast in the world at this moment, Buggy is extremely relaxed. He spread his hands and said, "Isn't that obvious? You don't think you are the only smart person in the world. You've made it so obvious. Another is to separate the continents, and to use that celestial magnetic field disturbance instrument, to deliberately select the 3 places of Grand Line, New World, and Calm Belt for magnetic field disturbance. Isn't this just to separate the ocean so that people can't get together better? Presumably your so-called master should have discovered this planet thousands of years ago, but because they were too far away from their civilization, they couldn't come immediately, so they resorted to these methods. Judging from the fact that they split the continent, disturbed the magnetic field, and instigated you people to rebel. It will take a long time for your so-called master, that's why I chose you as a pawn to maintain stability and control over this planet. That's why we deliberately let the society go backwards, unlocked the technology lock, and restarted the slave system, in order to let the speed of civilization stagnate. Before reading the historical text information left by the Sun God Kingdom, I always felt that there was something strange, and now I finally solved the confusion. Over the past 800 years, your world government has not made any progress. If it is not deliberately controlled, it is impossible to maintain this situation according to the development process of human beings. For this, I can commend you for your lord. You did a good job with this pawn. As soon as this statement came out, I Am on the opposite side immediately broke the defense. You humble lower-dimensional creature, how dare you insult God? Cree. Im's white hair stood on end, and he raised his hands and flung them in Buggy's direction. Snapped. The next moment, I Am stretched out his hands and palms together. Her eyes were full of coldness and anger, and she roared. Go to hell. Despicable lower-dimensional creatures. Temporal storm. Boom. In the next second, a sound as if the space collapse sounded. Caw 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 caw. Immediately after, under everyone's shocking eyes, that crack spread rapidly, turning the void within a kilometer in front of I Am into cracks. Bang bang bang. Immediately, these cracks shattered like mirrors. Clatter in the next moment, those shattered space fragments and the huge black space crack turned into a space storm and swept towards Buggy. After seeing this terrible scene, even Redfield, who was standing on the plute and watching the game, couldn't help but exclaimed. What a terrible move. How can I resist this kind of move? Shanks also looked extremely dignified. This is completely the ability of time and space. Except for the corresponding ability, you can only escape. Long's eyes were a bit hazy. It's hard to get to this step, is it really going to fall short? He really can't accept it, but the move in front of him is too strong. Even he, who is extremely experienced in combat, can't find any way to crack it at the moment. The same is true for Hawkeye, his brows are tightly furrowed, and he is also clueless at the moment. He thought to himself that if he was hit by this move, he would end up with nothing left. This move has already broken through the limit of their level. Buggy, how are you going to do it? This question is not only for the eagle-eyed, but also for Jabba, Bullet, Enel and others, as well as several admirals of Marine. Even Akainu, who was locked by the sea stone, looked at the sky with a look of horror at this moment. He looked at Buggy's back with complicated eyes. He really didn't want Buggy, who had already made it this far, to fall down here. But in the face of this crushing of absolute strength and ability, can Buggy really resist? Faced with this terrible blow, Buggy not only did not panic at all, but raised the corners of his mouth, revealing that unruly smile. If this is your last hole card, then I can only tell you, nothing more. After hearing Buggy's words at this moment, everyone's body couldn't help shaking violently. Now there is light in the eyes of all of them. In the next instant, the platinum light around Buggy soared into the sky with no end in sight, as if it wanted to break through the dome of this planet. Moreover, on top of the platinum beam of light, there are streaks of green lightning dancing around the periphery, which looks extremely miraculous. This is the state of Buggy after merging the awakening ability of Chop Chop Fruit and the awakening ability of Sense and Fruit. Seeing Imes, space-time storm, that shattered all space sweeping towards him, Buggy just slightly moved his body standing in the air, raised his right hand and opened his palm to face the space-time storm that seemed to destroy everything in front of him. Storm, said calmly. Comprehensive smash. Buzz buzz. In the next moment, the platinum light in Buggy's palm exploded, like the second round of the sun between heaven and earth, and then moved forward with the power to crush everything. Lacing out, a huge platinum beam of light with a diameter of 100 meters and circles of green lightning flashed across the sky. Scoff as this white gold beam of light entwined with green lightning rushed directly into the space-time storm, a shocking scene appeared. Chi 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 chi, the space-time storm that was so devastating that even the space was smashed to pieces turned out to be after Buggy's white gold beam of light wrapped with green lightning rushed into it. It collapsed, and then turned into countless dots of light that sprinkled into the void. And the shattered space returned to its original state after the dots of light fell. That terrible move that can easily destroy even space was resolved between Buggy and the people. Seeing this scene, even the arrogant IM was shocked beyond measure. She immediately yelled in disbelief. Impossible, absolutely impossible, nothing is impossible. Buggy looked at her coldly and said, I've said it before, you're so arrogant. A low-dimensional creature with a mouthful. Now, what are you who can't even deal with the lower-dimensional creatures? So lofty, yet so ridiculously powerless. Neurona you should understand a truth. No one stands in the sky from the beginning, either you or me. Even the so-called gods are the same, but if your strength stops here, then I can tell you. From now on, only I can stand on the frosty sky in this world. Arrogance. Was completely offended by Buggy's words. She didn't expect that a mere lowly creature from the lower dimensional world would want to ride on her head, so she stared at Buggy coldly and shouted. I see that you have great potential and I want you to follow my will to inspire the Lord together. But now with your attitude and your disrespect for the Lord, I still decide to wipe you and your influence from this world. Let you see the power of the national treasure. Feel the despair. While speaking, he turned his backhand and took out a rectangular thing that looked like a remote control from his pocket. After seeing this scene, Kakuzu couldn't help but twitched Buggy's mouth. Why is there something wrong with this style of painting? If you let go so hard, shouldn't it be your own magnification? Drop. Just when Buggy was thinking about this, the thing in Im's hand sounded a warning sound, and then the remote control in Im's hand actually issued an electronic sound. The Celestial Magnetic Field Disruptor Star Destroyer Cannon has been activated and is being charged. Boom boom boom. When he heard this electronic sound, Buggy could feel the red line under his feet trembled slightly, and his sense of knowledge spread out, and he could feel that the magnetic field within hundreds of kilometers and 25 kilometers around the red line began to become chaotic. Immediately, the power of these chaotic magnetic fields soared into the sky, directly leaving Buggy's vision range and rushing towards the sky. Seeing this scene, Buggy immediately understood the function of this celestial magnetic field disruptor. So the so-called charging refers to the force of absorbing the magnetic field? Star Destroyer. This level of technology is indeed a destructive level for the current pirate world. If the Scarlet Empire was hit by this gun, it would probably be wiped out directly. At this time, the voices of everyone on Pluton rang through the phone bug on Buggy's wrist. Buggy, what happened? I don't feel right. Yes, it seems that there is a strong energy going up to the sky. What the hell is the Star Destroyer that woman mentioned? It sounds a bit powerful. This thing is her last resort, it's definitely not that simple. Captain Buggy, what's going on now? Uncle Buggy, I'm here to help. Hearing the voice of the phone bug on his wrist, Buggy couldn't help chuckling. Luffy, I didn't expect you to come too, it seems that Uncle didn't love you for nothing. What you said is wrong. I feel it too, but don't panic, it's not a big problem. Buggy has just finished saying that the problem is not big. Everyone saw a dazzling bright light appearing on the top of the sky that was hit by the shockwave of the previous explosion without a single cloud, and even a terrifying breath of destruction emanated from the bright light. Hey, are you kidding me? Does this kind of energy really exist? What kind of weapon is that? Or what kind of ability attack? It's even scarier than that move just now. How do you resist this? It won't blow up the entire red line. So we have been facing this kind of opponent? I can't stop it at all. Buggy, are you sure? Like Redfield, Long, Shanks, Hawkeye, Jabba, Kizaru, and Fujitora, they are feeling hopeless at the moment. As the group of people with the highest combat power in the world, their perception is naturally the strongest. For the strength of energy to determine whether they can withstand this attack, they are still very close. This kind of attack is completely beyond their dimension. Maybe that woman is really a god. After successive shocks and panics before, even their top fighters are a little numb at the moment. We've come this far. What else can we do? Life and death is up to Buggy. After all, this man is the only one who hasn't shown a look of shock and panic from the beginning to the end. He is always so indifferent. Even after seeing this shocking light, Buggy was not surprised but happy. The corners of his mouth slightly raised, he looked up at the sky and smiled softly. It seems that this is really your last hole card. I have been thinking before, where is the thing that your master left to monitor our world? Now I know. As long as that thing is destroyed, at least your lord will not be able to find us here for a while, leaving enough time for this world. Very good. What? Was shocked by Buggy's words again. She didn't expect this man to speak like this after clearly feeling the terrifying energy fluctuations overflowing from the Star Destroyer cannon. Is he really sure to face the attack of the Star Destroyer? How can it be? How could a mere creature from a lower dimensional plane achieve such terrifying strength? Are you still talking big at this time? Why are you so arrogant for a guy at the early stage of planetary level? By this time, was really angry, shocked and terrified. Because she has a bad feeling in her heart. This man has always remained calm. Isn't this the same as her before? The reason she used to be so calm is because she is strong enough to crush any creature in this world. The situation of the man in front of him seems to have been like this from the beginning. Whether facing the siege of several admiral-level combat forces, or facing her 2 consecutive terrifying killing moves, she is still very calm and abnormal, without much fluctuation at all. Is this man really? Just as thought of this, Buggy's voice sounded again. Soon you will understand the reason for my arrogance. I said that from now on, only I can stand on the frosty sky of this world. A mere Star Destroyer is not half as good as me. While speaking, Buggy ignored and everyone's shocked gazes. He stretched out his right hand to one side, and clasped his palm, as if he was grabbing something. In the next moment, the void held by Buggy's palm trembled for a while, and immediately a platinum-flowing long sword appeared in Buggy's hand. Smashing sword. Then, a scene that shocked the whole world appeared. I saw Buggy raised his hand to hold the platinum long sword, and then pointed at the bright light emitting terrifying energy above the sky and slashed it with his sword. Crush. Scoff. The next moment, the platinum long sword swung down by Buggy suddenly shot out towards the sky, turning into a platinum ray of light soaring into the sky. Immediately, in the eyes of everyone, the platinum long sword held in Buggy's hand seemed to be in slow motion, slowly tilting towards the other side. But the people below were able to clearly see that the bright light above the sky was cut in half at that moment. Such a terrifying blow made everyone's scalp tingle and goosebumps all over their bodies. For a moment, everyone looked at the man holding a platinum long sword tens of thousands of meters above the sky with eyes in horror. If you look at the surface of the planet Pirate in the outer space at this time, you can see that in the outer space of the planet, there is a huge blue energy group accumulated in front of a huge space orbital gun with a gun barrel, and the entire orbital space station has been cut in two. The people below can't feel it, but it's impossible for I am who is bound to the celestial magnetic field disruptor not to feel it. The image of the space orbit and the Star Destroyer being cut into two has been revealed through the thing in her hand. After feeling this scene, Im's complexion turned pale, and his body could not help but tremble slightly. That is a weapon bestowed by the Lord that can destroy planets. How could it be cut into two pieces by a single sword so easily? The man in front of me is terrible, you. I am stared fixedly at Buggy, and finally shouted with all his strength. Where are you still holy? Why can you even cut off the Star Destroyer cannon bestowed by the Lord? Buggy raised his hand and swung it down, completely cutting the space station outside the planet into several sections with the platinum long sword in his hand, causing it to explode in space like a firework. Then he turned his head and looked at I am with a hint of sarcasm smile. Aren't I what you call a creature in the lower dimensional world? Having said that, Buggy paused with the platinum long sword in his hand, then slashed at I am with a sword, and said indifferently. From now on, this world no longer needs the king of the world. No. Seeing that the platinum long sword in Buggy's hand that was able to shatter the celestial magnetic field disruptor on the sky was mercilessly slashing towards him, I am couldn't help but shouted in horror. You can't kill me. I am the king of the world. I did it all to save you. With the strength of your current civilization, it is impossible to be the opponent of the Lord's Starfleet. They can destroy the entire world with just a few easy shots. Without me, this world would be destroyed. Scoff. The length of the platinum long sword in Buggy's hand with terrifying shattering power gradually shortened from the tens of thousands of meters long sword that fell to the space station, but even so, the space that the platinum long sword passed through was inch by inch when it was swung down. Shattered, it looks horrible. It was precisely because she sensed an irresistible force that she was so terrified. Sure enough, it is difficult for anyone to deal with death easily. Buggy sneered and said, For you, a traitor to humanity, a traitor of our planet, your only end is death. Even if we may be destroyed by alien civilization someday in the future, you don't need to worry about it. Without your interference, the civilization of the world can make a greater leap. What's more, I'm here. No matter how powerful those alien civilizations are, I will crush them to pieces. Stop wishful thinking. I am roared angrily. Looking at the slow falling speed of the platinum long sword, she felt a little bit of fear that she was going to death, and finally roared completely crazily. The current you are only at the initial stage of planetary level. Do you think you can reach galaxy level combat power within 100 years? What are you daydreaming about? Moreover, what is the use of reaching the large galaxy level by yourself? Can you destroy the entire space fleet by yourself? Don't be naive. A mere galaxy level, not bang. Only by my presence can the world be prevented from being destroyed. Why do you think I submit to the Lord? Not to protect the world. Am I wrong, you tell me? Am I wrong? As long as human beings exist, the war in the world will never stop. Only in obedience to the Lord do we, scoff. No matter how hysterically I am roared, the platinum long sword falling towards her did not stop, and it was getting closer and closer. The next moment, a platinum streamer flashed past, and Im's body was directly cut into two. Segments start to separate up and down. Blood spewed out of the roaring Im's mouth. Seeing this scene, people all over the world held their breath. They dare not even blink their eyes at this moment. You are right, as long as there are people with intelligent life, there will inevitably be wars. Buggy looked calmly and indifferently at I am, whose body was separated up and down, and said calmly. Just like your so-called Lord, it makes sense to start a war with us for a new habitat. Why do you think that your mere pawn at the peak of the planetary level can stop other people's interstellar army? Naive is right. Don't be a fool, your Lord cares not for the night. The Lord doesn't care? The Lord doesn't care? Ha 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 ha. Im's eyes were slightly lost, and after a burst of laughter, he shook his head vigorously and looked at Buggy and shouted. Eliminate human tyranny, the world belongs to the three bodies. Eliminate human tyranny, the world belongs to the three bodies. Eliminate human tyranny, the world belongs to the three bodies. As Im's last shout and roar echoed in the sky, her upper and lower body were directly shattered like the severed, celestial magnetic field disruptor, on the sky. The moment when Im's body turned into dots of light and dissipated. The moment when the platinum long sword in Buggy's hand gradually sank into his palm. All eyes are on Buggy. The figure of Buggy above the sky slowly landed above the Pluto, looked at the phone bug with its head up and videoed, and smiled and said. The war is over. From now on, there will be no gods above our heads. The world is in a frenzy right now. Unexpectedly, even the monsters in the world were killed by you. How did you improve this guy's strength? Captain Buggy, is the world government really overthrown by us? Isn't that necessary? Even the gods of the world government were killed by Captain Buggy, who else can stop us? Ha ha ha, that's right. Long live Captain Buggy, long live the Scarlet Empire. Looking at the extremely excited crowd, Buggy couldn't help but raised his hand slightly and pressed down, and then everyone immediately fell silent. Not only the people on the Pluto, but also the people who were watching the live broadcast all over the world at the moment, and the people who were reveling also fell silent. They all wanted to hear what speech the man would make when the war was over. What is the future direction of this world? Everyone is curious. My friends around the world, as you can see, the war is over and the celestial dragons are about to be executed. Why? Buggy looked at the live phone bug and said solemnly. But you must have heard the last words of that woman before. Maybe many people don't understand what it means, and I could not have explained it. But as the living species in this world, I think all intelligent life has the right to know this news. Our world is very likely to be targeted by a powerful civilization in the starry sky thousands of years ago. Regardless of their attitude towards us, they are all eyeing our world. And the former Imson, the celestial dragons who once rebelled against the sun god kingdom, are the pawns used by this alien civilization to instigate rebellion on our planet. These celestial dragons managed to hold off that alien civilization for over 800 years. It also makes us continue to lag behind by more than 800 years. Now, in less than 100 years, that alien civilization will come to occupy our planet and destroy our civilization. This is our most difficult problem right now. Maybe so, you may not have any idea, but to put it another way, let me say it. Now I can be said to be the strongest in this world, and it is not an exaggeration to say that I am the new king of the world. However, my strength is one level behind their strongest. Even if I can resist that strong man of civilization, the strength of each of them may have the same strength as that of the previous woman. The battle between civilizations cannot be controlled by one person. Unless man really became a god, enough to wipe everything away. But you should also know that this hope is slim. So, if one is not good, all of us in the world will become slaves again, and may even be completely wiped out by that Trisolaran civilization. Hiss. After Buggy said these words, it was like pouring a basin of ice water on people watching the live broadcast all over the world, making them gasp, their faces full of horror and disbelief. Isn't the war already won? Why would there be a more terrifying alien Trisolaran civilization? Why can't there be peace? There is no end. There is no end. Many people held their heads and began to howl. But more people started to blindly believe and worship Buggy at this time. Many people want to reduce the fear in their hearts by shouting. Enslaved again? Is it even possible to be directly killed by annihilation? A lot of people who are not able to bear it are going to collapse at this moment. But after hearing the shouts of the people around him, he immediately started shouting crazily. Yes. Master Buggy will definitely have a solution. That's right. Master Buggy will be able to save us, right? We have to trust Master Buggy. Since Master Buggy said so, there must be his way. Exactly. Lord Buggy is invincible. Long live Master Buggy. It seemed that they heard the voices of these people. Buggy looked at the camera phone bug and said in a deep voice. I do have a way. By now, everyone should know that I once had a dream, and I also know that I want to be the world. But today, I understand. The king of the world cannot save the world. If we want to survive the great war in the future, we must gather the strength of everyone in the world. That's the only way to get through it. Many people may remember what I said before. From now on, this world no longer needs the king of the world. Yep, that includes me too. The world's King Buggy's dream has been fulfilled, and the clown Buggy's journey has also come to an end. In order to prevent blind worship, to resist the three bodies civilization. From now on, there will be no more Buggy the clown, the king of the world. The king of the world will also become history. Speaking of which, Buggy raised his hand to caress the clown makeup on his face under the shocked eyes of everyone in the world, and stroked the hair hanging from the top of his head. 10 faces that were exactly the same as his previous life were revealed in front of everyone in the world. This face is sunny, handsome and full of the charm of a mature man. This is the transformation cabinet that occurred after Sensen fruit awakened and merged with Chop Chop fruit's awakening power. After the physical body was reshaped, this body has now completely become what he looked like in his previous life. Looking at the phone bug, after getting rid of the clown makeup, the man showed a sunny smile. You can call me by my real name Zhuge Xuanfeng. As soon as Zhuge Xuanfeng's words came out, everyone on the Pluto, and even everyone watching the live broadcast around the world were all stunned. But after the bewilderment, there was an uproar and a shock. Everyone looked at the man standing in the air with admiration and respect in their eyes. Did this man do this for the sake of this world? In order to prevent someone from developing the ambition to become the king of the world in the future, he actually gave up this title first. This man is so attractive. At this moment, he is like a saint, and even everyone seems to be able to see that the brilliance emanating from this man is shining on the world. In order to prevent people from breeding ambitions, and for the sake of this world, he not only gave up the title of king of the world, but even gave up his original name. This man has already achieved this step for the sake of this world. Even the most arrogant and thoughtful people are amazed by his actions at this moment. From now on, the clown Buggy will disappear, and the name Zhuge Xuanfang will be on the stage of world history. Just when everyone was admiring Zhuge Xuanfang's actions, his voice sounded again. There are two things I said before. One is that we are about to face a powerful civilization deep in the starry sky, and their name is Three-Body Civilization. One is that the clown Buggy will no longer be the name I continue to use from now on. Zhuge Xuanfang is my real name. This is also a part of my long-planned plan for world peace. Zhuge Xuanfang raised his hand and clenched his fist and hammered heavily on his chest. This is the military salute of the Scarlet Empire. Crash, for world peace. Just after Buggy finished the military salute, everyone on the Pluto also made this action in unison and stopped drinking in unison. For world peace. At this moment, the same voice was heard all over the world, and everyone made the same action. Zhuge Xuanfang nodded slightly, his expression became serious and he said, "Next, there is the third thing I want to say, which is also about the direction of the world. Although the celestial dragons and the world government are destroyed, the world still needs a regime that dominates the direction of the world. Otherwise, the current fragmented continents of the world will not be able to gather the fire of civilization for us. If people all over the world don't unite, then maybe less than 100 years later, we will face the massacre of alien civilizations. Everyone should still remember my speech about, I have a dream, right? I long for a world without racial discrimination, but all intelligent creatures can live together equally. But I know that in reality, racial discrimination cannot be eliminated for a while. Not all countries in the world can make all races live in harmony like my Scarlet Empire. Well, from this point, everyone can actually understand that it is even more impossible for civilizations in different worlds to live in harmony. If the Trisolaran civilization invades our world, what awaits us is destruction or enslavement. Friends from all over the world, tell me, do you want to be enslaved, to be slaughtered? As soon as Zhuge Xuanfang said this, everyone on the Pluton became the first to grow up. In no mood. These two words spread all over the world at this moment, arousing the unwilling anger in everyone's heart. Thinking that their descendants might be enslaved or slaughtered, the anger in their hearts could not be appeased, and they all waved their fists. In no mood, in no mood, in no mood. I don't want to either. Zhuge Xuanfang also yelled loudly. He looked at the open sky and said in a deep voice. So, we need a strong regime, a unified civilization. Now that the chaotic fields of the Grand Line and New World are gone, so will the Calm Belt. In this way, our sea navigation will become more convenient and faster. In this way, all of us around the world will be better connected together. You should also know before this that the world government first waged war on me for Vegapunk. And what I want to tell you is that I will let Vegapunk popularize the sea train technology to the world. I believe that it won't take long. Even if we are on our respective islands in the sea, we can easily gather together by sea train. At the same time, I will also popularize airship technology. There are not only sea trains, but also airships, which make our transportation more convenient. Moreover, sailing boats will gradually be eliminated. The technology of steamship is now perfect and mature, and it can be popularized after the war is over. There are also various benefits that benefit the country and the people. Of course, these are the benefits of the citizens of the Scarlet Empire. I believe that those who understand Scarlet Empire should have a deep understanding. I have said so much, just to tell everyone that the regime of Scarlet Empire is the most suitable for today's world. Therefore, I welcome like-minded people to join our Scarlet Empire, transform the world together, and let us lead the world to red. Certainly, I will not force other countries in the world to join our Scarlet Empire. But again, you will not enjoy the benefits of our empire. What I need is a like-minded comrade who is united and can fight side by side with us and resist the Trisolaran civilization with us, not someone who enjoys the fruits of victory but doesn't want to give anything. So, here I am now, Zhuge Xuanfang, as the first head of the Scarlet Empire. I hereby sincerely invite the kings of the world to Marie Joyce. Please join us in witnessing the execution of the last celestial dragon's captives. Then, let's discuss the future of this world together. Then, next, I'm going to hold a banquet with my partners to celebrate the victory of this war. Farewell, everyone. Ha ha ha. While speaking, Zhuge Xuanfang returned directly to the Pluto, waved his hands and shouted. It's time for a party, brothers. Oh oh oh. Hearing Zhuge Xuanfang's words, everyone on the Pluto cheered excitedly. Uda came to the phone worm, pointed the direction of the phone worm to the crowd who were cheering with Zhuge Xuanfang and said with a smile. As you can see, I'm going to the banquet now too. So, let's stop here for this live broadcast. To the fact that we have no gods on our heads, to this brief piece, cheers. While talking, UTA raised a big whine and smiled at the phone bug. People all over the world cheered again at this moment. New World. Scarlet Empire. At this moment, Garp was on top of a building on the edge of the flower capital square, looking at the darkened big screen on the square in the distance with a gloomy expression. The cheers of the people below seemed to have nothing to do with him. Snapped. Garp raised his hand and patted himself on the forehead, then took another big sip of his wine. Sengoku's death pained him a lot. Zephyr on the one side has remained silent since Sengoku died, and he didn't say a word, but kept pouring wine for Garp. The two remained silent for a long time. Garp suddenly said in a hoarse voice. Zephyr, am I a deserter? I should have died fighting with Sengoku. Hearing this, Zephyr said in an indifferent voice. Fight for whom? You should have prepared for this when you chose to sit on the giant dragon heading for Pangu City. What's being pretentious here now? Do you think you'd survive if it wasn't for Dragon and Luffy? If Buggy and Redfield want to kill you, where are you going? Ridiculous. You wouldn't expect Xuanfang to offer an olive branch to Sengoku in that situation, would you? Why? If my wife and child die, Sengoku can't die. Why do you think we chose to attack the world government on the first day you just left the Scarlet Empire? Even if you don't understand, doesn't Sengoku understand? But you still went. Now that you've gone, why can't you die? Garp's body trembled when he heard the words, he opened his mouth, and finally stopped speaking. Marine Admiral's wife was killed in Marineford, which was a disgrace to Marine. How did he die? Even if Kong hadn't told them at the time, they could have guessed something. Who else would dare kill in Marineford but the Celestial Dragons? However, they made a choice at that time. Then don't blame Zhuge Xuanfang for being cruel. So it was with Zephyr's wife and children, and so it was with Ohara, as it was in the Upper Kingdom. Asterisk. Although Zephyr said so, Sengoku is his very good friend after all, and now his heart is also in pain. He sighed and patted Garp on the shoulder and said. You should think about how to explain Momoshiki to Suru. Garp's body was shocked again, and he smiled wryly before saying. The old man really doesn't want to go back to Marineford now, just let me stay here, it's best to treat me as dead. As you like. Zephyr got up and said, I'm going to the celebration banquet, you just stay here, I'll call you Long, Luffy and Ace later. Garp heard that there was a touch of gratitude in the red eyes looking at Zephyr. Thanks. Why Zephyr sighed and turned to leave. At the same time, in the Scarlet Empire, mineral toxic prison, in a cell. Kinemon. Kill me, I'm in so much pain. Momonosuke, you must hold on. Kill me. I can't take it anymore, kill me. Do you want to torture me like this all the time? You can't eat enough, and you are in so much pain every day. I don't want to stay any longer. Kanjuro killed me. Kinemon killed me. Looking at the extremely painful Momonosuke Kinemon, he finally understood at this moment why the Red Sheath 9 swordsman, who was once the most loyal to Kazuki Oden, would be so generous to them. Such pain, let alone Momonosuke, a child can't bear it, Kinemon himself can't bear it. Okay. Momonosuke-sama, let the subordinates help you out. Kinemon, what do you want? I won't allow you to hurt Momonosuke-sama. Kurozumi Kanjuro, who was watching the play, saw that Kinemon really wanted to do something, so he immediately went up to hold him back, and didn't give him a chance to do it at all. The son of Kazuki Oden, the descendant who caused Wanakuna's greatest disaster, wants to die so easily? Dream. Give me a good sense of the pain of the people of Wano-kuni. Just let me die in pain. Ha 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 ha. This banquet lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. Especially on the second day, when thousands of celestial dragons were executed simultaneously to reach the high court. What a world that has been imprisoned and strangled by celestial dragons for more than 800 years has finally ushered in her dawn. During these 3 days, almost the whole world fell into carnival. Later, the 2 days before and after the collapse of the world government were called Day of Dawn and Day of Nirvana, respectively. In the near future, these 2 festivals will be recognized by everyone in this world, and Dawn Day and Nirvana Day will be called the new life of this world. Every year, These 2 days are also the days when people from all over the world gather together to celebrate, and later it became the longest holiday in the world. Because the combined holidays of these two festivals have a total of 10 days. This allowed everyone in the pirate world, who gradually began to evolve, to have a pleasant and relaxing holiday. After the 3-day and 3-night banquet was over, Zhuge Xuanfang immediately started working as a minister. First, meet the kings or leaders of 300 countries from all over the world, and then explain to them the political system of Scarlet Empire. Afterwards, those countries that are willing to join the Scarlet Empire are accepted, and the positions of their countries are summarized and assigned, and each of these countries is assigned as a large province of the Scarlet Empire. The first country to ask to join was naturally Dressrosa, and several kingdoms around Dressrosa also chose to join. Then the superpower Alabasta also chose to join the Scarlet Empire and became the first province of the Scarlet Empire Grand Line. With their leadership, small countries that originally chose to wait and see began to join in one after another. No way, the benefits of joining the Scarlet Empire are great. The most important thing is to be able to enjoy the treatment of pure gold. That's right, pure gold has been found by Shirahoshi using the power of Poseidon. With Shirahoshi's ability, coupled with the search of countless sea kings, the eye-catching image of that lanternfish can't escape the search of sea kings at all. After taking out the huge piece of pure gold from the mouth of the lanternfish intact, Zhuge Xuanfang immediately asked Vegapunk to make a pure gold ring for his confidants and members who participated in the World War. As for the formula and material of pure gold, with those two father and daughter around, there is no need to worry at all. With Vegapunk's learning ability, it won't take long for Zhuge Xuanfang to achieve pure gold freedom. Pure gold almost represents the concept of eternal life. Even if you can't live forever, it can greatly prolong your own lifespan. These kings and heads of state from all over the world are not curious about pure gold. But after listening to Zhuge Xuanfang's talk about the function of pure gold, everyone went crazy. With such conditions, they simply cannot refuse the olive branch thrown by the Scarlet Empire. Especially, the current Scarlet Empire is too strong. Even if the current Scarlet Empire is the former world government, there is not much difference. It's just that the power is temporarily in the hands of Zhuge Xuanfang. Because the parliamentary chairpersons of the parliamentary system have not been selected yet. For many kings in these 300 countries, they only want to get the benefits of Zhuge Xuanfang and Scarlet Empire, and they don't want to pay anything. But when pure gold appeared, all countries chose to merge into the provinces of Scarlet Empire, without any hesitation. It's not that no one chose not to join the Scarlet Empire, but when they heard that if they didn't join the Red Empire, then any welfare of the empire would have nothing to do with their country, these people finally chose to join. There is no way, it can only be said that the temptation of pure gold is too great. What? You say using this method to invite others to join is an improper means. Come on, where are there so many legitimate means between countries? Without the binding of interests, no one will buy your account even if you are a great saint for a long time. And what better means than prolonging life? In this way, the Scarlet Empire doesn't have to pay a big price, and can easily control the resources of the entire world, that's enough. In the next few days, Zhuge Xuanfang and his wood clones, Crocodile's sand clones, and Robin's flower clones entered the provincial systems formulated by various countries. During the period, the scientific team headed by Vegapunk also joined the discussion. In the end, the Ministry of Science formulated 4 plans. First, Pythagoras and Atlas, the clones of Vegapunk, are in charge of the World Sea Train Project, and the Flying Airship Project, jointly established and researched by Sakamuni, Lilith and Edison. Secondly, the scientific team formed by Guy Saw is responsible for the hybrid rice vegetable and fruit diffusion plan. Finally, Judge's scientific team is responsible for the medical evolution project of gene cloning of organisms and human organs. These big plans are just what the world needs right now. Needless to say, the first sea train, as the only means of transportation in the world where the islands are distributed, can quickly connect various islands. The second airship is also about the convenience of transportation, because the celestial magnetic field disturbance instrument of 3-body man has been smashed by Zhuge Xuanfang, so the magnetic field disturbance phenomenon has disappeared, which is beneficial to flying units in the sky. There is a more urgent need. After all, no matter how fast the sea is sailing, it is impossible to have the sky come fast, because the sailboat will not be eliminated in a short time. The third hybrid rice and vegetables and fruits are related to the food and clothing of people all over the world. Although the world is not very short of food, it is definitely not wrong to be prepared. The fourth is naturally to raise the level of medicine to a higher level. With the cloning technology, it can completely treat various diseases. It is simply a great boon for all intelligent life in this world. After the 4 project plans were explained to the whole world through the live broadcast, people from all over the world immediately felt a little more recognition for this emerging Scarlet Empire. After all, this is a big project that benefits the country and the people. Looking at who participated in these 4 plans, we can understand the importance of the G's Empire to these 4 plans. The person who is the captain of the Iron and Mineral Search is Gildart Tetsolo, who has awakened the Golden Fruit ability and was once one of the kings of the underground world. Sakazuki is the captain of Iron and Mineral Smelting, and the vice captain is Firefist Ace and Charlotte Owen. That's right. These 2 world's top Logias who used to fight to the death in the Red Line are now directly arranged to work together by Zhuge Xuanfeng. This hot fruit of Charlotte Owen is also of great significance to this industry's help. At first, people from all over the world were shocked and speechless when they saw the person in charge of this project, and even more people expressed disbelief. But when the live broadcast started, I saw that Akainu used lava fruit to easily melt the entire mine, and then Ace, who is capable of Mara fruit, directly used the terrifying temperature of Mara fruit to purify the impurities. The fruit-capable person controls the temperature to keep all the molten steel consistent. It can be said that just the 3 of them can be compared to tens of thousands of workers, which is not too awesome. When the people from all over the world, and even the cadres of the Scarlet Empire, saw this scene, they were shocked. It turns out that devil fruit can still be used like this? However, all this is just the beginning of the shock. When Zhuge Xuanfeng began to use the ability of Sensen fruit to plant forests on the Red Line, and the forests in Alabasta directly changed the desert landscape and climate of Alabasta together with the former leader of the Revolutionary Army, now the minister of the Scarlet Empire Dragon, shocked the world again. When Crocodile used his sand fruit ability and Snuggled stone fruit ability to build dozens of high-rise buildings in Alabasta, the world was shocked again. So this is the correct way to open devil fruit? However, it is much more than that. When you see the world's #1 swordsman start splitting mountains and cracking rocks to join full name infrastructure business from the live broadcast, you don't have to be surprised. You don't have to be surprised when you see from the live broadcast that the world's first singer has become a delivery expert invited by various provinces around the world. When you see from the live broadcast that Sea Kings has become a high-speed carriage driver on the sea, which can transport goods, carry people, and transmit intelligence information, you don't have to be surprised. It has to be said that Zhuge Xuanfeng, who opened the era of live broadcasting, can be said to have used the ability of live broadcasting to ultimate. It can be said that when live broadcasting has entered the lives of people all over the world, even if the sea train plan has not been fully popularized, the connection between islands has become closer, and the distance between people has become closer. This kind of life is changing with each passing day, and everyone can truly feel it from the day Zhuge Xuanfeng started to transform the world. Because of this, people all over the world are more and more grateful to the head of the Scarlet Empire who abandoned the title of King of the World, and wholeheartedly served the people in the world Master Zhuge Xuanfeng. Since Zhuge Xuanfeng opened the full name Great Infrastructure Era, the number of laborers in the world was not enough for a while. Therefore, Zhuge Xuanfeng issued an amnesty order. Release all the prisoners in the prison except murderers to reform through labor, contribute to the world, and then the sentence can be commuted. After hearing the news, many people were very grateful to Zhuge Xuanfeng. But some people are grateful, and naturally some people resent it. For example, this scene appeared in the Mineral Poison Prison, outside the capital of Flowers, one of the capitals of the Scarlet Empire. Why? Why couldn't this amnesty come sooner? Kinemon let out a terrifying roar. In the distance, Kurozumi Kanjuro looked at the corner of Kinemon's mouth with a cruel arc. Just an hour ago, he deliberately let go of Kinemon's blocking. Kinemon, kill me. Kinemon, kill me quickly. Momonosuke, who was contaminated with smile mineral poison, was just like those Wanokuni people who used to be suffering so much that he wanted to commit suicide, and was tortured to death. But he didn't dare to commit suicide, so he could only keep asking Kinemon for help. But Kinemon was blocked by Kanjuro all the time, he couldn't do it at all, and he couldn't bear it himself. But just an hour ago, Kanjuro seemed to have finally exhausted himself. Seeing this scene, Momonosuke was ecstatic, and Momonosuke, whose face was covered with green stars Madara, yelled at Kinemon again. Kinemon, kill me now. Woo woo woo, now I finally understand why those people in Wanokuni hate our Kazuki clan so much. But aside from the facts, are they not wrong at all? We are the noble Kazuki clan. Kinemon, I'm in so much pain, kill me quickly. Woo. The blood of our Kazuki clan has been noble since ancient times. We've always ruled Wanokuni, it's always been. Kill me Kinemon, kill me. Momonosuke screamed hoarsely in pain, and he was a little delirious when he spoke. But even so, he still had a condescending tone in his mouth. Okay. Momonosuke-sama, I'll give you a ride. Seeing this, Kinemon immediately roared in pain and punched Momonosuke hard on the heart, causing Momonosuke to spit out a mouthful of green poisonous blood, and his body shook violently. He bounced up and stared at Kinemon for a few seconds, then lay down again. At this time, Kurozumi Kanjuro in the far corner looked at Momonosuke and Kinemon with cold and mocking eyes, and then said hoarsely after a low laugh. It's ridiculously arrogant. Master Xuanfeng is right. These people won't reflect on themselves until they die. Ever? It's always been like this, isn't it right? Kinemon, who was lying on the ground because of exhaustion in the distance, heard something wrong when Kurozumi Kanjuro said. His body shook, he turned his head suddenly, and looked at Kanjuro in disbelief. Sneering and smiling faces. Kanjuro, you. Kanjuro, what are you? What do you mean? Kinemon, who was lying on the ground, suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. What do I mean? Kanjuro's gloomy face covered by red hair was finally revealed at this moment. He looked at Kinemon and grinned. Well, let me tell you my real name. You can call me Kurozumi Kanjuro. What? Kinemon's pupils shrank suddenly, and his face was full of shock and disbelief. How could you? You're an undercover agent for that Kurozumi Orochi guy. Kanjuro, we are comrades in arms. Why are you doing this? Ha. When Kurozumi heard this, he immediately opened his arms and looked up to the sky with a long smile. Comrades. Ridiculous. I used to not know why I, 677, did this. Originally, I thought that it was only because Master Kurozumi took me in that I would be willing to become such a spy. But by this time I understood. My heart longs for revenge. Yes, my parents' hatred. If it wasn't for the Kazuki clan, if it wasn't for the stupid Kazuki Oden, if it wasn't for you stupid and loyal Kazuki warriors, how could Wano-kuni be occupied by Kaido? Obviously, you guys had so many chances to save Wano-kuni. Wasted by that idiot Kazuki Oden, and you, Kinemon. You know that Kazuki Oden was on Whitebeard's boat, you know they are sworn brothers, why? Why not ask Whitebeard for help? Tell me why. Kurozumi Kanjuro even roared at the end. Kinemon originally wanted to refute, but after hearing Kanjuro's words, he opened his mouth, and in the end he could only lie powerlessly on the ground, staring at the ceiling with blank eyes. After a few seconds of silence, Kinemon said bitterly. I see. Kanjuro, what you and Mr. Buggy said are not wrong. Wano-kuni's demise lies with us. Living here these days has made me feel the pain of the people of Wano-kuni. That Mr. Buggy is right, the crimes of our Kazuki clan to Wano-kuni are too great. Momonosuke has gone. Now I have become a person who devours the Lord again, and I have no face to live in this world. If it can make you feel better, then you can kill me with your own hands. Hearing Kinemon's words, Kanjuro's original mad expression had a tinge of astonishment, then a flash of pain flashed in his eyes, he finally gritted his teeth, and walked towards Kinemon with a resolute expression. The enmity between parents is irreconcilable. Kinemon, farewell. Kanjuro walked up to Kinemon, raised the sea-stone handcuffs in his hands high, and was about to smash Kinemon's head. But he held it up for a long time, but he didn't move. Apparently, Kurozumi's death had a certain impact on Kanjuro. No one appreciates his performance, so what's the point of killing Kinemon? Kinemon might be the last person he remembers about him in this world, right? If you kill him, what will he have left? Click. At this moment, the gate of the prison was suddenly opened, a group of soldiers walked in, and 3 people stood in front of them. After seeing the scene in the prison, they couldn't help being stunned for a moment. Kikunojo? Hisong? Denjiro? After seeing the person coming, Kinemon and Kanjuro couldn't help but exclaimed in astonishment. Denjiro walked up to Momonosuke, who was no longer breathing, raised his hand and pressed on his neck, and immediately looked at Kinemon and Kanjuro with a complicated expression, saying, Who can tell me what's going on with you? Are you trying to kill each other? Kikunojo also looked at the two sullenly. Hisong opened his mouth and finally just sighed. Kinemon glanced at Kanjuro, who had withdrawn his hand, then propped himself up and sat up cross-legged, looked at the 3 of them and said, Master Momonosuke is in too much pain, he has been begging me for several days, so I finally decided to give him a ride to relieve his pain. As a person who devours the Lord, I feel that I have no face to live on. So, I let Kanganro kill me. It's a pity that this guy is a coward, and he can't kill me. When it came to the end, Kinemon couldn't help laughing. Kanjuro glanced at him, didn't say anything, just squatted down against the wall. Is that so? Denjiro let out a long breath and sighed. It seems that the Kazuki family is going to die, but in fact, an hour ago, Master Xuanfeng has issued an amnesty order. As long as he is not a murderous guy, he can now get the opportunity to go out to reform through labor. Then, through reform through labor, you can get a reduced sentence and start a new life. Demon fruit power. according to the effect of its ability, will also receive special preferential treatment. That's why I said God is dying for the Kazuki clan. Puff. Hearing Denjiro's words, Kinemon, who was sitting cross-legged, couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood, and then fell directly backwards. To him, Denjiro's words are simply murderous. 1 hour. Momonosuke-sama is only an hour away from receiving an amnesty. It's all because I'm too insecure, Kinemon. As former comrades in arms, even though they already hated the Kazuki clan, they still walked forward with some worries when they saw Kinemon's appearance. Puff. But at this serious and tense moment, there was a sudden laughter from the corner, and then the laughter became louder and louder, and even became a little crazy at the end. Ha 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 ha, interesting, very interesting. This is fate, isn't it? Ha 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 ha. The Kazuki family, that's what they deserve. Ha 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 ha. The soldiers outside the gate, Kikunojo, Kawamatsu, and Denjiro, 3 people inside the gate, were stunned when they saw Kanjuro's appearance, and they didn't understand why this guy suddenly went crazy. After all, this guy's ability and Kinemon's ability were personally ordered by Master Xuanfeng to take them to the special department to report. Because their abilities are of great help to the development of the empire. Now these 2 people look like they are going to die, and the other look like they are seriously ill. In the past few days, what happened here? No matter what happens, it doesn't matter anymore. The Kazuki family is completely extinct. Even in Scarlet Empire, the surname Kazuki will not appear in the future. Because this is destined to be a surname that is rejected by the empire. So far, with the death of Momonosuke, the disability of Kinemon, and the dementia of Kanjuro, the light and family have come to an end. Redline. The ruins of the huge pit in Pangu City. At this time, a group of people were sitting on the edge of the huge pit, looking curiously at the man sitting cross-legged on the opposite void. People who come here are not only the cadres of the Buggy pirates in the Scarlet Empire, but also the Red Hair pirates, and the former Marine Admiral Fujitora, Kizaru and Aokiji, headed by Garp. Even Akainu, who was smelting iron with Ace, was called over. Even Katakori and a group of Charlotte's children in Wangua were called over. Everyone was puzzled at this moment. They really wanted to know what kind of plane this man was going to fly. However, compared to the doubts in their eyes, more people looked at Zhuge Xuanfeng with expressions full of admiration and respect. These days, Zhuge Xuanfeng has controlled the rudder of the world, causing the whole world to undergo rapid changes every day. Coupled with the countless cloned live phone bugs, the popularization of live broadcasts also enabled them to understand the gratitude of people all over the world to this man. This is a man who is really doing something for the world. The man who was supposed to be busy every day suddenly called them here 26 days ago, and his serious appearance made them all curious. Buggy. Why did you call us all here all of a sudden? Redfield didn't care about it either, and asked Buggy directly. Buggy glanced at the crowd, and finally withdrew his gaze and said slowly. This time, I want to discuss 3 things with you. The first is to explore the issue of the 3-body civilization. The second is to discuss the issue of intensive training. The third is about my own problems. Having said that, he paused, and after seeing that there were no objections from the crowd, he continued to speak. Then, first of all, let's talk about the Trisolaran civilization. Do you have any opinions on this alien civilization? After hearing Buggy's words, everyone looked at each other for a while, and the red-haired man sitting on the edge of the pothole suddenly said. Buggy, oh Xuanfeng. To be honest, has this Trisolaran civilization really existed? A powerful civilization deep in the starry sky? That's right, it's confirmed. Zhuge Xuanfeng nodded and said. These days, Vegapunk and I have repeatedly confirmed that the part of the celestial magnetic field disruptor that fell from the sky is indeed a technology that does not belong to our world. Coupled with several historical texts newly found underground in Alabasta, it is just about the Neurona family's contact with alien civilizations. Judging from the content, we can speculate that the Neurona family may have been brainwashed by the Trisolaran civilization to instigate rebellion and become their traitors in our world. Etc. When hearing this, Long suddenly raised his hand and interrupted. Xuanfeng, you said a traitor before. If this Trisolaran civilization is really so powerful, why would they plant traitors in our world? Even that powerful Imsen is just a pawn in their hands. Do they need to spend so much effort? But that's what they do. So, is there any possibility that the Trisolaran civilization is not as powerful as we imagined? Are they actually afraid of us? As soon as Long's words came out, everyone nodded one after another, expressing their agreement with Long's opinion. Then, everyone turned their heads to look at Zhuge Xuanfeng. The latter shook his head resolutely and resolutely. There is no such possibility. It's not that I haven't thought about the idea you mentioned, but after thinking about it, I rejected it. There are many reasons. 1. the celestial magnetic field disturbance instrument, which is far beyond the technology of our civilization, as only something that Trisolarans sent from the depths of the endless void to the planetary orbit beyond our sky. We cannot catch up with this alone. Second, you should all have seen Im's strength. It is impossible to brainwash her without surpassing her strength. That is to say, the three-body civilization has shown Im to far surpass her. Understand the strength beyond cognition. That's why Im directly positioned the three-body civilization as his own belief, and regarded them as a master-like existence. It is precisely because Im has accepted things beyond her cognition that she thinks our world is a lower-dimensional world and regards us as lower-dimensional creatures. This is like the contrast formed by a person who is used to seeing the vast sea and sees the creek in the mountain after returning to the valley. Third, again, a civilization capable of interstellar travel, then their world's comprehensive strength is definitely far above ours, and they may even be able to easily destroy our world. It is precisely because of these reasons that I called you here today. After Zhuge Xuanfang finished speaking, everyone fell into deep thought again. It has to be said that Zhuge Xuanfang's words made everyone nod involuntarily. Hearing this, Jabba looked at Buggy and said directly, "So the second question about training and cultivation should be to let us improve our strength in case we need it in the future?" Yes. Zhuge Xuanfang nodded and looked at the crowd and said, "I heard from Im before that she said that the Trisolarans will arrive on our planet in about 100 years, and by then we will only face the destruction of the country and species. But the enemy's words, you have to cut half to listen. Therefore, I assume that the arrival of the Trisolarans has less time left. And we need to fully develop technology and physics in less than 50 years. Now that tech has Vegapunk on its side, we can rest easy. All that remains is force. Most of you here have admiral-level strength. It can be said that you have almost reached the ceiling of this world. But, what I want to tell you is that the strength of the General Emperor level is just at the beginning. This may be the case for Three-Body Man." After Zhuge Xuanfang finished speaking, there was another uproar at the scene. How can this be? Could it be too exaggerated? If the general is just a start, how can ordinary people play? If that three-body civilization is really the case, then we and the other party are not in the same dimension at all, okay? Zhuge Xuanfang raised his hand to press back, and everyone quickly fell silent. Although it's a bit exaggerated, general-level strength is definitely not their highest combat power. You should have heard the conversation between me and Im fighting before. Her strength is the pinnacle of the planetary level. You must be curious, what kind of history is the so-called planetary peak? I can give you a brief distribution of the combat power in the universe. The starting point is the admiral level, the imperial level, and the planetary level. After that, there are star level, galaxy level, and universe level. This should be the highest combat power in the universe we live in. If there is any more, then I must not touch it. Finally, I would like to say that my current strength is probably in the middle stage of the planet, and it was in the early stage when I played against Im. Therefore, I killed Im more because of my own two abilities, which gave me the capital to leapfrog challenges. Everyone was shocked when they heard the words. The general level is just the starting point? It turns out that only those who reach the planetary level are eligible to fight against that civilization. It should be more than that. After all, the strongest strength of the Trisolaran civilization that Buggy mentioned before is definitely not just a planetary level, it may even have a strength above a star level. That's galaxy level strength? What's that concept? Don't dare to think about it. Don't dare to think about it at all. Looking at it this way, the strength of our world really differs too much. Is this the gap between civilizations? After some discussions, everyone found it hard to accept. Especially the group of people in front of them. It can be said that they are all the top geniuses in the world. Are physical geniuses, hockey geniuses, swordsmanship geniuses, are fruit abilities developed to ultimate, and even old monsters who are compatible with the 3 or 4. But even though they have reached such a terrifying level, most people still stop at the general level. For a while, everyone was a little depressed. Seeing this, Zhuge Xuanfang was satisfied. He just wanted to take a little pressure off the sloppy crowd. These guys are all talented and powerful, but they are addicted to sailing adventures every day, drinking and banqueting all day long. How can this work? It would be fine if there were no foreign enemies in the pirate world he traveled through. Now even the Trisolarans have come out. Zhuge Xuanfang doesn't want his base camp to be wiped out after he leaves. After all, this is the first world that Zhuge Xuanfang traveled to, and there are his women here, so he naturally wants to put some pressure on the strong in this world. Otherwise, these people will really be useless when facing the Trisolarans in the future. The devil fruit of One Piece world is such a good resource for nothing. You know, even at this time, Zhuge Xuanfang still couldn't understand why devil fruit was born. He discussed with Vegapunk for a long time, but there was still no answer. Although Vegapunk's lineage factor is almost successful, even a successful clone of Devil Fruit can be done except for the color. But for now, the power of the cloned Devil Fruit after awakening has yet to be verified. After seeing that everyone was a little frustrated, Zhuge Xuanfang smiled and said, "Actually, you don't need to be like this. Our world and civilization still have some advantages. Whether it is the training system of Marine 6 styles or the training system of swordsmanship, they are all things that can greatly increase the upper limit of our world's comprehensive strength. There used to be no systematic induction and teaching. But this does not exist in our Scarlet Empire. Whether it is Marine 6 styles general outline, or GNL level swordsmanship general outline. I drew up 2 copies, and then sent them out through printing. It won't be long before a large number of strong men will emerge from our Imperial Army. It's time to distribute it to the world. Or recruit capable talented youths to join the army, which will not only improve the combat power of the army, but also make the future of our empire more stable. The last point, what I want to say is Devil Fruit ability. At this point, do you still think you can reach the strongest level without eating Devil Fruit?" When everyone heard the words, they all looked at each other in blank dismay, and then smiled wryly one after another. After the World War, a month ago, how can they still not understand what a terrifying increase in strength brought by powerful swordsmanship or physical skills, plus powerful hockey and Devil Fruit abilities? Apart from Zhuge Xuanfang, apart from Redfield, none of them dared to say that they could win against Blackbeard who possessed Double Fruit ability. Even Zhuge Xuanfang killed Blackbeard before because his own hockey and abilities were superior to him. If there is a tie, basically no one can defeat him. After all, his 2 fruit abilities are too pervert. So, Xuanfang, you mean let us find a powerful Devil Fruit to eat and then develop it? Shanks said puzzledly. But it takes time to develop the fruit, and Devil Fruit is not so easy to develop, right? Not everyone can develop and awaken the fruit so easily like you. Everyone nodded in agreement with Shanks' thoughts. Zhuge Xuanfang smiled slightly. Among the Buggy pirates such as Lei Te, Enel, Shu Rockdale, Empress, Duolingo, Rob Lucci, Gildart Tetsolo, etc., they raised their fingers under the light in doubt people who have awakened their abilities say. As members of the former Buggy pirates, all of their fruit abilities have been awakened. Guys, do you think this is a coincidence? As soon as Zhuge Xuanfang said this, Shanks and the others looked at him in shock. Are so many fruits awakened? How is it possible? Didn't it mean that Devil Fruit will only occasionally awaken? It's outrageous. No wonder I said how the Buggy pirates are so powerful. Are they all the guys who have awakened the fruit? On one side, Garp, Kizaru, Akainu, Aokiji, Fujitora and Smoker were also shocked. Only then did they understand why the Buggy pirates were able to take down the world government so easily. This gap in high-end strength has already made up for the foundation of the world government for more than 800 years. You know, world government is still more of the power of the Clone Legion. But unless the clone army is crushed in terms of strength, how can it possibly beat the real fruit ability Awakener? Redfield's eyes lit up and said, the base number is too high. Could it be that there is some secret to fruit awakening? You just happen to master this secret? Facing everyone's expectant eyes, Zhuge Xuanfang smiled and nodded. That's right. Originally, I wanted to tell you this question during the training camp. But now that I'm here, I'll briefly talk about my guess about the awakening of Devil Fruit's ability. First of all, the most important thing to develop Devil Fruit is imagination. So where does imagination come from? Knowledge, of course. Whether you are learning professional knowledge, or writing miscellaneous books and encyclopedias, it can be regarded as a kind of enrichment of your own imagination. The more imaginative you are, the more you can develop your own abilities and moves through the anchor point, Devil Fruit. Although some Devil Fruits have some built-in moves and abilities, it may be because of the imprint of the previous owner or the strongest owner who once mastered this Devil Fruit. But it doesn't matter, because this can be changed through your own later development. You may not know that since 2.5 years ago, I have asked Robin to give lessons to the members of our pirate team every night. All kinds of lessons, even storytelling. Occasionally, I myself will write some imaginative stories, similar to storybook novels. For example, I once told everyone in our pirate group a story about races in the universe. This is what I imagined based on the perspective of the Fur Clan. On a certain planet in the starry sky, there is only one race living on this planet. They are called Battle Nation Saiyans by the people in that universe. And there is a story about Shinigami. That's about it. It is precisely because the various abilities in these stories inspired everyone in the Buggy Pirates that they had an understanding of their fruit abilities. Coupled with the knowledge taught by Robin, it also enriched their development and awakening routes. This is why our members of the Buggy Pirates have largely completed the fruit ability awakening. I think that by promoting this method, it will not take long before the overall combat power of our world can be greatly improved. I have even chosen for you fruit development and ability experiments, as well as places where you will fight in actual combat in the future. While speaking, Zhuge Xuanfeng raised his finger and pointed to Bu Lei, who was listening fascinated from the Charlotte family behind him, and said, "That's right, it's in the space of Bree's mirror fruit. In this dimension, no matter how ferocious you fight and how serious the damage is, it will not affect this dimension. That's why I value the Charlotte family so much." After hearing Zhuge Xuanfeng's words, Katakuri and the others finally understood why this man valued their suffering from the Charlotte family so much. At first they thought it was Katakuri, but now they get it. It turns out that Bree's ability is so useful. In this way, it is true that these world's top combat forces present can keep their hands to fight without any scruples. Coupled with the vast and advanced medical resources of the Empire, almost as long as the head is not beheaded, after a period of organ cloning treatment, they can be alive and kicking again. This is where the strength of Scarlet Empire lies. After seeing everyone's emotions, he smiled and said, "As for Seastone's restraint and worry about not being able to swim, then don't worry too much about it." Having said that, Zhuge Xuanfeng paused and raised his finger to the sky and said, "Because our journey is the sea of stars, our goal is the sea of stars." Zhuge Xuanfeng's words immediately made everyone's eyes light up. Almost at the same time, everyone looked up at the sky, as if there was something there. "With the starry sky as the sea? Xuanfeng, you deserve it." Vegapunk sitting on the side heard this, and couldn't help but sighed with a chuckle. "It seems that I have to hurry up and try to create a spaceship according to what you said within 20 years. Complete the mass production of spacecraft within 30 years. In this way, Xuanfeng, what you said before, the era of the great exploration of the universe, maybe it can really be realized. Sail through the stars?" Everyone's eyes are getting brighter. It can be said that these guys here are more or less adventurous, otherwise they would not all go to sea to become pirates. Now that the Scarlet Empire has been incorporated into the provinces governing the major sea areas, although they have great power, they are really not necessarily happy. Hearing Vegapunk's words at this time immediately aroused everyone's interest. "Hey, old man, is what you said true? Can you sail in the starry sky? Can this kind of thing be done in 20 years? In that case, don't we have a new sailing goal? Ha 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 ha, the era of great exploration of the universe. It sounds really exciting." That's right, that's right. Wouldn't it be more exciting to have an adventure in the universe and starry sky without having to venture in the big seas of our world? Wow. I'm really looking forward to it. By the way, Uncle Xuanfeng, can people walk in the universe? Seeing everyone's excited appearance, Zhuge Xuanfeng decided to give them a little more hope. At this time, Luffy, who had been depressed for a month, finally asked a question. The reason why Luffy has been depressed for more than a month is because after the World War, Luffy knew that his One Piece had been preempted by Zhuge Xuanfeng, which made him very disappointed. Especially when he learned that Uncle Buggy and now Uncle Xuanfeng are the real One Piece king, he was hit hard. Then he ate and drank for free at Zhuge Xuanfeng's place for more than a month. As for Suolong, they are also not in a hurry. There is no way that Zhuge Xuanfeng has too many strong people here, and there is enough space for them to communicate. There is also a strong medical team, so there is no need to worry about injuries. And various delicacies among the Boeing Islands. That kept them on the red line for a long time. Today they were also summoned by Zhuge Xuanfeng, and they did not expect to hear such shocking news. It can be said that after One Piece was found and the Scarlet Empire ruled the world, the living standards and spiritual life of people all over the world have been greatly improved. Many people can make their lives better just by working hard. In this case, there will be fewer and fewer people going to become pirates. In addition, the Scarlet Empire army is treated very well, and talented people will even be specially trained. Except for a few who are prickly and don't like to be disciplined, almost most of the civilians choose to become soldiers. At the beginning, many people didn't understand why Zhuge Xuanfeng recruited so many troops after the world was unified. But after today's situation was explained, everyone understood a little bit. It turns out that this man has already set his goal on the starry sky above his head. Sea of stars. What a wonderful and exciting place for another adventure. But if you want to go to that place, you definitely need a strong civilization background as a foundation. Moreover, from this point of view, it seems that personal strength is no longer the main thing, and improving the level of technological development has become the mainstream. Everyone here is the top powerhouse in the world. After trying to understand this, they are inexplicably a little bit lost. Didn't expect them to be useless for a while? At this moment, the words Luffy asked suddenly made everyone look up at Zhuge Xuanfeng. They also want to know whether people can walk in the universe. Don't say it. Really don't say it. Zhuge Xuanfeng raised his hand and nodded Luffy with a smile. Your words can be regarded as asking everyone's heart. So, I'll get straight to the point. At least the condition of the physical body must be trained to the state of zone demon fruit power, so that the physical body will not be crushed in the universe. But people have to breathe. There is no oxygen in the cosmic space, just like being in the seabed, but the difference is that it can move. Unless you hold your breath long enough, you will still die if you fall into the universe. This is actually what I said before, the gap between us and the Trisolaran civilization. As far as I know, the body strength of the main civilization may not be as strong as the comprehensive average of people in our world. Because in our world, whether it is sea kings, fish in the sea, or fruits and vegetables, they are actually rich in energy. It is precisely because of eating these things that the physicality of our world is generally very strong. After training, it is normal for the body to be like steel or even surpass steel. And the hardness of steel is enough to run rampant in the universe, this is one of them. Seeing everyone's excited expressions, Zhuge Xuanfeng smiled and continued. Second point, I have another surprise for you. The ultimate secret about Logia ability users. The ultimate secret of Logia ability users. As soon as Zhuge Xuanfeng said this, the eyes of the three former Marine admirals immediately turned cold, as did several Logia ability users on Zhuge Xuanfeng's side, and they all looked at Zhuge Xuanfeng curiously. Seeing this, he didn't continue to play tricks, but went straight to the point. The secret is that people with Logia abilities can fly directly in outer space. After elementalization, you don't need to worry about any cosmic space suppression at all. Because the elements themselves belong to the universe. Regarding this point, we personally flew into space to experiment, and I, who has dense fruits and wood elements all over my body, are indeed not rejected by the universe. This is also what I said at the beginning, our advantage over Trisolarans. The situation that Zhuge Xuanfeng said caused another uproar in the crowd. They didn't expect Logia ability users to have this benefit. Mr. Xuanfeng, do you mean that you don't even need to breathe? Kizaru couldn't help asking. Haven't you tried it yourself? Zhuge Xuanfeng looked at Kizaru and said with a smile. With the power of your sparkling fruit and the power of Enel's thunderfruit, you can actually fly in space. Is that so? Kizaru's eyes lit up. Yes. Zhuge Xuanfeng nodded and continued. As for not being a Logia-capable user, I guess you need at least a planet level or higher strength to be able to cross the void. That is to say, only a stellar level of strength can fly unimpeded in space. As for how to do it, I don't know now, but you don't have to be disappointed. While speaking, Zhuge Xuanfeng raised his right hand and raised his middle finger so that everyone could see the ring he was wearing and said with a smile. We have a ring of pure gold. Do we still need to worry about time? As long as we work hard, the star rating will not be a problem for everyone. After hearing the words, everyone reacted. They raised their hands one after another to observe the ring with a pure gold embedded in it, and then everyone smiled. Really. When time is no longer an obstacle, becoming stronger becomes natural. Seeing the gradually rising confidence on everyone's faces, Zhuge Xuanfeng was immediately satisfied. He is now looking forward to the scene after the arrival of the three-body civilization in 100 years. Thinking of this, Zhuge Xuanfeng looked at everyone and said with a smile. Then, the next point is the third point, which is about my upcoming trip to the otherworld. Crash. Zhuge Xuanfeng's words stunned the people sitting on the edge of the pit, and then there was an uproar. Captain Buggy, do you know what you're talking about? No, Yingang. What do you mean by that? Journey to otherworld. Can you go to another world? True or false? I'm going to depose. Did I hear it wrong? Buggy, oh, no. Uncle Xuanfeng said to go to another world? Is this also possible? Ah, I don't understand. My head is so itchy, I seem to be growing my brain. Among them, Hancock and Robin were the most excited. The two women almost stood up and stared at Zhuge Xuanfeng with disbelief. This made the latter a little bit dumbfounded, nodded to them, and said with a knowledgeable voice. About this matter, I will explain it to you in private later. After the two women heard the voice in their minds, their expressions changed, they looked at each other and nodded at each other, and then they didn't ask about the situation. Zhuge Xuanfeng raised his hand in a vain pressure. Seeing this, everyone immediately fell silent, and then all looked at him. Seeing this, Zhuge Xuanfeng pondered for 2 seconds before opening his mouth and saying. How to say? Let me first talk about my judgment on the three-body civilization. This civilization has also said before that their comprehensive strength can easily crush and wipe out our planet. Judging from the degree of IM's admiration for the Trisolarans, they have at least an individual strength above the star level. There may even be more terrifying galaxy-level existences. Therefore, not only you need to improve your strength, but I also need to improve my strength. You are all experienced guys, and you should also understand that it is actually very difficult to improve your strength at our level. Because it requires constant fighting. You guys are okay, but as far as I am concerned, let me say something arrogant, no one in our world can do one-on-one with me. No one can even force me to use all my strength. Only when my strength reaches the level of I am, will I feel pressured and be able to fight with all my strength. Only in this way will my strength be improved, or even transformed. Before fighting I was only at the early stage of the planetary level, but 1 month after the battle with her, I had already reached the middle stage of the planetary level. The strength has increased by another section. At my level, it is difficult for quantitative changes to cause qualitative changes. Why can't dozens of you besiege me alone? One time is okay, more than that is not practical. You should be able to understand, right? After hearing Zhuge Xuanfang's words, everyone nodded silently, with complex expressions on their faces. Especially when Zhuge Xuanfang spoke so bluntly this time, they immediately felt that the gap had widened far, far away. But looking back, it was true. This world has no rivals for this man. Having no opponent means that his strength has probably reached an upper limit. If there is no pressure from the opponent, then the strength will stop here. They are still very clear about this. The strong in this world want to improve their strength. One is by talent, the other is by cultivation, and the third is by fruit ability. But the most important point is to rely on fighting. If there is no continuous baptism of fighting with various strong people, it is impossible to quickly improve the strength. Just think about Buggy's experience. From the moment he started to show off, Buggy has been fighting. Hit Magellan from Impel down, go out and kill 3 quasi-admiral level CPOS. Immediately afterwards participated in Summit War. This made Buggy's already tyrannical strength improved rapidly, and Haki is also increasing day by day. Summit War faced Admiral head-on, and even faced Sengoku and Kizaru 1 against 2 without showing any fear. Then there was the Battle of Punk Hazard, not long after the Summit War. That time they beat Kaido and Sengoku again, and established the position of New World's new 4 emperors in one fell swoop. Except that, Liberation of Dressrosa did not go through any battles. In the subsequent Battle of Wano-kuni, they faced a stronger, double emperor alliance. Face 2 4 emperors alone and win. If it weren't for Blackbeard's intervention, I'm afraid Kaido and Big Mom would have been hammered to death by Buggy in that battle. I'm afraid it was during that battle that Buggy's strength rose to a terrifying level. So much so that he directly overturned the world government 2 years later. Shanks and others looked back on Buggy's previous experience in their minds and sighed in their hearts. Although this man has changed his name to Zhuge Xuanfang for the sake of this world, no one will forget the face of the clown who toppled the world government. Maybe the reason for the removal. In front of important buildings in each country, there will be a statue standing in the air, with a white cloak on its shoulders, hands in pockets, and a clown makeup painted on its face, with an unruly smile at the corner of its mouth. Clown Buggy is dead, but Zhuge Xuanfang is still alive. For the sake of this world, this man even chose another more difficult path. Because there is no rival in this world, did you choose to go to Otherworld? Seeing that everyone understood what he said, Zhuge Xuanfang nodded and said in a deep voice. I accidentally got a chance to go to Otherworld, and my intuition told me that that world definitely has an opportunity to improve my strength again. So, for the future of our world, I must go. Because, if I choose to stay, if my strength cannot be improved, if we are unable to defend against the masters among the Trisolarans, it will be a catastrophe. The war between civilization and civilization will be more brutal. This can be seen from the fact that the Trisolarans are already so much stronger than us in terms of comprehensive strength, but they still want to curb our development and hinder the progress of our civilization. Such powerful Trisolarans can even use this kind of method. One can imagine that when they really come, the methods they use will only be more brutal. Therefore, we must have the strength to compete with their high-end combat power. That's why I chose to go to Otherworld. After Zhuge Xuanfang finished speaking, the whole scene was silent for a long time. After a long while, Luffy was the first to break the silence. He grinned, raised his hand to hold the straw hat and said, Uncle Xuanfang, we will not allow others to destroy our civilization. It can be said that adventures in the sea are less attractive to me now, but I still want to take my partners to the Sea of Stars as you said. How could those guys destroy our homeland? Don't worry, leave the house to us. I will definitely help protect it, before Uncle Xuanfang comes back. Hearing Luffy's words, everyone was shocked, and then smiled. As expected of the owner of Nika Fruit, Zhuge Xuanfang also showed a smile, and then he came to Hancock and Robin in a flash. and after saying something beside them, under the complicated eyes of the two women, his figure appeared above the huge pothole in Pangu City again. Zhuge Xuanfang raised his hand and threw out a key, and a door suddenly opened above the void. The spirits of the people who were chattering loudly were shaken, and then they all looked up at the minister. Although they thought that Zhuge Xuanfang would leave, they didn't expect him to leave so fast. Before Zhuge Xuanfang came here, he was actually ready to leave. He even used up one of the rewards for swallowing the third devil fruit given by the story change panel in advance. Just want to make a quick cut. He was also worried that he would come down because he would not delay. The gentle township is the tomb of heroes. He still understands this truth. Immediately, he grinned at everyone, made a clown-like insolent expression again, and laughed triumphantly. Ha 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 ha, didn't expect that, everyone. Well, I'm leaving. I hope that when I come back next time, I can see the improvement of the strength of all of you. Say goodbye for now. Goodbye. Swish. The next moment, Zhuge Xuanfang's figure stepped through the door, and as the pitch-black door closed, the figure on the void disappeared, and everything returned to normal. Everyone's expressions were extremely complicated, and no one thought that this man would walk so freely. So, as you say, farewell for a while. Leave this world to us to protect.